from the Plum Rate Time-Saving Traffic Center. Good morning. Hope your day is off to a great start this morning. Good news if you are having an early commute. Roads in the metro looking pretty good right now. No delays popping up and no accidents to report currently. As things update throughout the morning, I will get those to you. For now, just stay safe and wear that seatbelt. I'm Peter Krenzer.
In school sports, it's easy to see the wins, the moments that make headlines. But there's so much work that goes unseen for any of it to happen. My name is Phil Risen, and I'm the Executive Director of the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association. Throughout the country, athletic administrators dedicate countless hours to making life-changing opportunities possible for student athletes through sports. Their sacrifice is fueled by the belief that every student can grow and deserves their time to shine. On behalf of the NIAAA, we want to thank every athletic administrator for your tireless dedication to providing 7.8 million students across the country a path to a better future.
This message presented by the NIAAA, the National Interscholastic Athletic Administrators Association.
If you're 55 or older and into that whole saving money thing, T-Mobile has an exclusive phone and internet bundle just for you. Right now, get 2 unlimited phone lines plus 5G home internet for just $30 each per month with AutoPay, plus taxes and fees. And with 5G home internet, setup is easy with just 1 cord and no technician needed, which is great if you're also into that whole keeping it simple thing. Switch now and experience the best mobile network in the U.S. Visit your local store to start saving. T-Mobile, it's better over here. Based on analysis by Ookla of Speed Test Intelligence data Q4 2024 to Q1 2025. Ookla trademarks used under license. Unlimited on our network. Customers on voice plan may notice speeds lower than other customers and further reduction if using more than 50 gigs a month due to data prioritization. Video streams and SD on this plan. Home internet pricing after $20 a monthly bill credit plus $5 per line without autopay. Debit or bank account required. See 5G device coverage and access details at T-Mobile.com.
the back seat. Check the back seat.
All right, come here.
Check the back seat.
Gets in your head, right? Good. Because every year, dozens of children are forgotten in the backseat of a car by a parent or caregiver. All never thought it could happen to them. But with changes in routines, distractions, or a sleeping child, it can happen to anyone. Parked cars get hot, fast, and can be deadly. So get it in your head.
Check the back seat.
A message from NHTSA and the Ad Council.
Live from 50th and Capitol Avenue in the Big O. This is Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. 1620thezone.com and 1620 The Zone TV.
All right, happy Tuesday, everybody. Welcome in. Going up on a Tuesday. Wake up. Coffee with the boys. Gary and Matt. Jimmy is here as well. You're waking up and you have dreams of yellow flags and Tyreek Hill's injury last night in your dreams. But you also wake up today with a renewed optimism that today is playoff baseball day. There will be playoff baseball. There will be 4 games. Just find a way to go 1-0. 1-0. My hat is beautiful.
It is. That's an all-timer for you.
You know what? So this has become a tradition. The Cubs last played a home series. Remember this?
Yes, 2018 was the last time they had a home playoff game.
With fans.
Oh, yes, because they had the home playoff series against the Miami Marlins.
Yes, which was just miserable. Now, 2018 was a miserable experience for yours truly. It was one of the rare times I let somebody watch an important Cubs game with me, and the Cubs lost in 13 innings in a wild card game to the Rockies when they played one and done. It was a miserable experience, but today will be much better. Just find a day to go 1-0. Find a way to go 1-0. But today is playoff baseball, and you know what? I'm glad that people are not glazing over the Red Sox and Yankees.
What do you mean?
It's kind of like a little bit of not an afterthought. But it's not as big a deal as I thought it would be. Now it's a big deal, and it's a great rivalry, and it should be a banger of a series. People hate when I say that.
Why? When you say banger?
Yeah, people don't like banger.
What do you mean? Banger's a very good word.
Yes, I was told that it's your word. It's your people's word.
Gen Z's word?
Yes.
Okay.
I
was about to say Cubans don't use banger.
Okay, that's a whole different story. Cubans running a Mexican restaurant blows my Cuban friends from Miami away.
I know. That's just what I can't tell you. That's just what we did. That's just how we grew up. They just decided that Mexican food was probably better than Cuban food or easy to sell in Chicago.
Yeah. My guys this weekend, that came up again. And they're like,
did
how's
it
that
really?
Doing? Yeah, because they are straight out of Cuba.
Yes.
And they're like,
So
that doesn't make sense at all. But that's okay. But just find a way to go 1-0. Find a way to go 1-0. That's all I care about. But I thought they're like the Red Sox, Yankees, like even ESPN is not like going over the top.
I was going to say, I didn't see a whole lot of promos yesterday during Monday Night Football, like promoting, Red Sox Yankees, which I thought I would. And if I'm being honest with you, because you know that I'm like a half foot in, half foot out baseball fan. I didn't really know.
All in though today.
Well, yes, because it's my team, because it's the Cubs. I'm in on the Cubs. I'm just kind of out on.
I didn't know if you would flip a coin to see if you would root for the Cubs today or not.
No.
That's still wild.
That
is crazy.
What do you mean?
You're a Bulls and a Blackhawk fan. Why can't you be both? Why do you have to flip a coin?
But no.
You are like the Shields sports fan. You like walk into Shields and whoever has gear up front, you're like,
true.
That's my team of the day.
That is not true whatsoever.
Why did you give up on both of your Chicago teams in the winter?
First off, let me clarify this, okay? I'm flipping a coin to see which one I'm gonna be like die hard for. Like I'm gonna watch like all. It's really hard.
You grew up with both.
But here's the thing: I'm still going to watch. Let's say if I flip the coin, I end up being a Blackhawks fan. Right.
Okay.
I'm still going to watch like 5 to 15.
Why do we have to flip a coin? Why can't you be a fan of both? You grew up with both. You're a big fan of both teams.
I am a big fan of both
hockey.
teams. I'm just telling you. I already told you guys what this was really for yesterday. It was I don't want to pay for NHL League Pass and NBA League Pass. So I flipped the coin over the last 2 years because I'm the one that has to pay for it of which apparatus I'm going to buy. And so I buy one of them and I watch like all of their games. Last year was mainly Blackhawks. And then this year we'll do the same because I love the Bulls too.
I'm
okay.
surprised. You know what I'm saying? I will give you credit. You have been loyal to Northwestern because I'm surprised you haven't become an Oregon fan. Because you walk into Shields and usually Oregon gear is
Look how
up
shiny
front.
those jerseys
Or
are.
like a Montreal Expos fan because their hats are cool and Shields has a tendency to put them up closer to where the hats are. And you're like, I don't recognize that team. Well, yeah,
That's my team.
Netflix is doing a special on them.
Okay.
Who killed the Montreal Expos? So good on you. You do have some loyalty.
What do you
stuck with
mean
your
some
cats.
loyalty? I'm
have some
incredibly
cats.
loyal. I haven't dropped any of my Chicago teams. If anything, I've added my college teams, and my college teams have taken away from my pro teams. This is the thing. This is what happens when you grow up in a pro town and then you end up going to a college town in terms of your sports. You have to eliminate things. If we're going to be honest with you, Chicago Bulls basketball has taken a back seat to Nebraska basketball and having to watch Creighton basketball games. That's part of what we've deteriorated away.
Will you
from
flip
it.
a coin this winter to see if you will follow Nebraska or Creighton basketball? I think we should do this on air. This should be a thing.
Like a lottery,
Yeah.
like a draft.
Yeah, and if it
I
whatever
do have
team,
too many teams.
yeah,
We could have Andrew and Doug call
I-
in and weigh in.
I don't
Nebraska
think
ball
you-
Mike.
I don't think you can have too many teams. I think everybody has a team per league,
Mm.
and then maybe if you went to school somewhere, that's become your team.
I have like 8 teams.
Let's do this. Why don't we flip to see which basketball team you follow?
You know that I can't do that because I'm doing Creighton post game. I felt like for my job, I have to watch Creighton basketball. So no, I can't do that. And then I'm also going to be watching Nebraska basketball. I'm going to be watching both. I'm going to be watching so many sports. So this is why I have to do the coin
I'm
flip.
glad you wore a Cubs hat today because I thought you might wear like I don't know, some like maybe I don't know, like a Mets hat because you like the N and the Y and you like the color and it's pretty cool.
You know that I am a very big Cubs fan and that I grew up there and I went to games and I watched games and I followed the team. It's just I have a bad reflection because you are a diehard and the Cubs are your
Well, today we need to
number
find a
one
way.
team.
We need to find a way to go 1-0.
Yeah, this is what I told you 3 weeks ago, that I knew that you were going to somehow try and find a way to stiff arm me out of being
I'm
in
just
the
blown
Cubs
away
crowd.
by yesterday. You're saying you're going to flip a coin to decide which team you follow.
Which team I'm like a diehard for, and the other team in which I'm like kind of
Why do you have
half,
to pick and choose?
because it's a lot of money. It's a ton of money.
You have
and
your
it's a
own
lot of
show and a
time.
podcast.
And
You're
I
a
have the
successful
Bears,
young man.
and I have Nebraska football going on at the same time.
Polls
Yeah,
up, by the
when
way. Which
January
team should
comes
Matt pick to
around,
root for this year?
I'll be on both teams. I'll be like watching both games. But until like
Are you going to flip a
January-
coin to see who you root for this weekend, Nebraska or Michigan State?
No, God. By the way, flipping a coin.
TJ Duckett was
it's
a
not
good
like
running
I'm
back.
flipping a coin to figure out if I'm going to root for the Lakers or if I'm going to root for the Bulls. I'm flipping a coin to figure out if I'm going to watch more basketball or I'm going to be a big hockey.
Why can't you do both?
Don't
It
you
is-
do both, Gary?
I
Yeah.
explained to you already how hard it is to do both.
It is not that hard to do both.
Hell, I watch both and I go to bed early.
I follow an NBA team on the West Coast that usually doesn't start until 9 o'clock around here, and nobody else cares about. But I care that DeMar DeRozan said last year was crap. I watched
wasn't
all the,
wrong.
I watched all
Did
the
you
media.
watch the media day?
I watched the Kings media day
Why
yesterday.
did you watch the Kings media
Because
day?
I, you know what? Tomorrow's a big day. We're going to see if we get Kuminga or not.
Why? This is ridiculous. I just, you know what? I just have a bad comparison to you because I think for most normal people, I have a lot of
I am
a
not
lot
normal.
of teams.
That is true.
I
That
have
is
a
true.
I have a lot of teams and I have a lot of passion for said teams, and that passion has to be kind of cut like a pie and spread out, about the teams that I root for. And unfortunately, the two teams, because of my job, that are getting a bit of a shaft this year are the Bulls and the Blackhawks.
Ed says you would be a good person to work at Shields. You could wear all the different team gear.
I know you have in this YouTube chat as well has absolutely cut out half my wardrobe because at a certain point of around May, I started getting annoyed about all the jokes when I would wear my different teams' hats. So now I only have like 8 hats to wear out of the 32.
We're very proud. Now, the one thing I will give you credit for, you are loyal to the Bears. It does not matter. They can take you
Yeah.
through the ringer and you'll stay with the Bears.
Yes.
Thank goodness.
I'm loyal to the Bears. I'm loyal to, where I went to school. All that
Our
stuff.
cats.
Well, I
Gotta
didn't
stay
go to
loyal to
school
our
there.
Cats.
I mean, the Cats are very much. I turned the TV on.
One
What's
game winning
Hyman
streak.
Doing, cool. It is. I mean, it's a very casual fanship.
I know
as
this
well.
this is like a good look into your age world of sports fandom, which is perfectly fine
This
because
is deeper.
hey, you know what? Sometimes you're watching Oregon play college football and you're like, man, DeAnthony Thomas, he's a dude. I'm an Oregon fan. And you know nothing about Oregon. You don't know who Mike Bellotti is.
Kenny Wheaton.
All you know is Chip Kelly. You're like, I'm a fan. Then DeAnthony Thomas. You like tune in the next time to watch Oregon. He's not playing there, and you're like,
Who is Rich Brooks?
oh man.
You're like, I like Stanford.
You know what? Hey, yeah.
Andrew Luck.
Christian McCaffrey, I like you. Go Cardinal. Whoa, what happened to that program? All right. Busy show today on a Tuesday of Michigan State week around here.
Be warm.
It is going to be warm. You know what?
Well, today
This'll
and
be,
Saturday.
This will be one of those. Matt Rule has a advantage and a smart Matt Rule of switching sidelines.
Yep.
Because on October 4th, it's going to be toasty on the sideline. It's going to sit in the sun. That happens to be the visiting
92 I believe.
sideline. Yeah. But it is Michigan State week. Yeah. Coming up on the show. No, I think that I got that impression from Rule yesterday. I'll explain here in just a moment. But Sam McEwen's coming up at 7:30. Sarah Baker Hansen stops by at 8 o'clock. BC at 9, and then Andy Kendi at 9:45. That's the lineup brought to you by the Rooferys of John Higgins Weather Guard. I got the impression from Rule yesterday that he did media because that's what you do on Monday. But there's nothing really he can say post-Michigan that is going to change anybody's opinion. And I also think he talked a little bit as a guy that it stung him that they got beat in the trenches. Whether that was full or not,
sure,
his AD doubled down on it, so that doesn't sit well with him. But I just got like yesterday, what more am I going to say to y'all? Okay, we're just going to go play against Michigan State, and we'll see what happens. It's kind of it's a really interesting month that sets up because in terms of like the national narrative, there's no benchmark games. There's only games that could tear you down.
Yes,
that it's like, okay, we had our opportunity. Now we got to get through October, and then we play in November. That's the impression I got from him yesterday. Is I'm here because this is what I do. I'm going to answer the questions. I'm going to be cordial. We're going to talk about it, but we just got to go play. Saturday is here. We go play, and then we talk afterwards.
Isn't it kind of like the Michigan game was the toggle for will the rest of the season end up being a lot of fun or will it be kind of stressful? And I think the season is stressful regardless of whether or not it's a very stressful industry. But if you go ahead and you beat Michigan, right, you're on the path to like college football playoff. Everybody's super excited. You got 4 games ahead of you, and where you're going to be the favorite. Now that you've lost that game, it's very much if Nebraska loses one of these over the next couple of weeks, I mean, there's not that it will be a 5-alarm fire, but you are kind of staring the possibility of 7 wins. Where a couple weeks ago, you were probably closer to staring the possibility of having 10 wins.
Yeah, I mean, I haven't changed my opinion. I still think they're a 9-win football team. It's just you don't get many opportunities. And when you have an opportunity to win a game that normally you don't win, it's deflating. And I just that was my impression of Rule yesterday. There's not much more he can say. Look at we've reached the point of the season where we put out a depth chart, and it's like, whatever. Okay. It's like,
wait, I did think about that yesterday because I was looking.
We get to that point at some point during the season, we have reached that post Michigan that the depth chart is there to have that page filled.
Well, it was funny because I was looking for the depth chart after we got the email sent to us about what the media guide looked like. And I literally thought to myself, I was like, it's funny. 2 weeks ago, we were like 7 different media members was posting this thing. And I could just click on my notifications and look at one. And then 3 tweets later, there would be like a breakdown of like what matters at what. I go to my notifications. Nobody's posting the depth chart. And I don't even think they're giving the depth chart any sort of care, if I'm being honest, just because like Elijah Pritchett is 3rd on
what is he behind Corcoran?
He's behind Corcoran. And no. So you're right. I mean, it is the part of the season where it's just like, all right, buckle up. You got to start winning games, man. Like you just got to start showing up on Saturday and playing good football and hoping that you score more points than the other team.
Also this weekend, unfortunately, with Michigan State will be down their left tackle, who is out for a month, who has started 4 games. They may start a redshirt freshman. We will get no Alante Brown. Remember Alante Brown?
Yes.
Alante Brown has been in college for a long time.
He's still in college?
He is,
I
he's
did
still on Michigan State's
I had
roster,
no
but he
clue.
is injured. So he had the beginning of the year, he'd been pretty good on their special teams, like kick return, and then he got injured. It sounds like they're going to try and get him back in November, or he could be out for the year, which I think would be the end of his career, possibly. Now he's been playing for 6 years. Now he also is battling something else. His fiance, who lives in Chicago, was shot in the head in July,
Oh my God.
and so she is still fighting for her life. And he went back to East Lansing to play, but it's been quite the journey because he originally committed to Michigan State in 19, and then Nebraska got him to flip. And he played, 20, 21, 22 at Nebraska. And then he went back to Michigan State in 23. So he has been at Nebraska for 3 years and at Michigan State for 3 years, but he is not slated to play this weekend.
He had that big double pass against Nebraska in 2023. I remember
Yep.
I remember Tony White talking about that, being like, Cadillac got us. And then didn't he get hurt though in that Nebraska game?
He has been unfortunately, that's been kind of the story of his career.
Yeah. I mean, he's gotten, now I didn't know that he got hurt. I didn't even know he was still playing for Michigan State, but I didn't know that he got hurt until you just said that. And I remember that he had gotten hurt multiple times when he was at MSU. He's one of the very few college football players that had gone to Simeon High School in Chicago that are still around and kicking, which is funny because that used to be a massive, that Simeon High School in Chicago for football used to be like a massive powerhouse. And now it's like just funny that Alante Brown, a dude who is kind of like on the depth chart, buried in a way at Michigan State, is like one of the last dudes to come out of that high school.
He's never been the same since he tried to hurdle the Michigan DB in 22.
Is that the one that he got hit
Yes,
on the
yes.
that was
Remember that very
that might be the highlight of his career at Nebraska, unfortunately.
That's terrible. I mean, it probably is. It's the highlight of his career at Nebraska is probably that, or throwing that double pass against them in 2023. That was like the only one of the
when he was at Michigan State.
Yeah. But like that's probably where people remember him the most, because that was probably the only explosive play that they had in that absolutely terrible game that I don't think I'll go back and watch because I like myself. But that was an awful game. I'm thinking about going back and watching it because it was the only time Rule has played Michigan State. But that was an awful football game.
The guy that was at quarterback that day for Nebraska will not be playing quarterback full time on Saturday.
Okay. Tight end.
Did you just break some news?
No. Well, I mean, if they have a goal line situation, would it surprise you if Harburg was under center?
No.
But that game is probably not worth a watch. There's a lot of guys in that game that aren't even playing.
I know, but it's the nostalgia of watching, Michigan State and Nebraska play each other,
What
Yeah, you want a nostalgia. Go watch 2015. There are other games that were played in East Lansing.
Watch the 03 Alamo Bowl.
Watch at the time, Frost's biggest victory, a Snow Bowl game, a field goal kicking contest in his first year.
Have you ever gone back and watched the 2021 Michigan State Nebraska game?
Just certain plays.
Just one play in particular?
No, because I watched all of overtime.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Talk about torture.
I keep reminded how Kenneth Walker saved Mel Tucker.
There was a great debate on like what college coaches were merchants of what great college football players, and a lot of people were like, Mel Tucker literally made millions of dollars because of Kenneth Walker, ended up being incredible. And then another great example was if Kellen DeBoer doesn't end up working out in Alabama, how he was a Michael Penix Jr. merchant. But I think we're finding out that both those guys were just Rome Odunze merchants.
I think of how much both of these programs have changed, because when Nebraska joined the Big Ten, I thought Michigan State was the model to build your program after, not Iowa, but Michigan State, because D'Antonio was there, and they were a little bit under the radar. They were a development program that had really good success.
Tough.
They just, and they were also, they were in a state where you had another team that was a big dog. But at the time, back, 10 years ago, Michigan State was running the state of Michigan. And I always thought that's the way to go if you're going to build your program in the Big Ten, is to emulate Michigan State. And if you look like a decade later, both programs look completely different. Okay. One has a third-year head coach. The other has a 2-year head coach. They've gone through, changes, their programs have not been able to get back to, whether the 2012 ending for Nebraska in the Big Ten championship game or Michigan State playing in the playoff in 2015.
I was going to say, I don't think that Michigan State has been a legitimate contender or a threat since 2015, 2016 in the Big Ten.
They just kind of at the end of D'Antonio's run, it started with the elevation of Michigan. When Michigan started to take off, Michigan State seemed like they couldn't keep up with them.
Yeah.
And all of a sudden the state became one-sided. I mean, they would win a big game here or there, but they weren't like in the playoff discussion. And also Ohio State, Penn State, Michigan all got better in their division, and Michigan State didn't. And then they made a poor hire with Mel Tucker.
Well, and
they probably waited a little bit too long with D'Antonio.
Yeah.
He was somebody they were loyal to. He'd had great success, and you could kind of feel it start to go down with recruiting, so on and so forth. And, he probably stayed maybe a year or too long. But if that's the case, then you got to make a really good hire. And they brought in Mel Tucker, and Mel Tucker set their program back.
Well, also, too, I think that, and this is not a main, I think what you just said, Mel Tucker being hired and that going the way that it went definitely has been the catalyst of their fall. I also do think, too, though, that them having a basketball program that is really, really good and that is consistently contending and that is always winning games, and they're always in March, and you kind of have fans. You have fans that can be like, all right, well, it's November and we're 500 and we're not really going to be competing. Like, I wonder what Izzo and the boys are doing. Like, I definitely do think that has a factor in things as well as like how we look at them optically, because I think that Purdue in a way has kind of morphed into that. Now they've done themselves no favors by just being absolutely terrible at football. But like, I think that the programs in the Big Ten where they're so known for basketball, right? I don't think that doesn't really do you a whole lot of favors when it comes to how do we look at you and how do we respect you.
Maybe a little bit.
It's not a massive factor, but I think it definitely plays a factor.
I wouldn't compare Purdue and Michigan State. Both of them are very basketball centric.
Sure.
But Purdue doesn't have the size of a stadium that Michigan State has.
Good point.
I mean, Michigan State still has had like a really good history in football and still,
yes,
where Purdue has had, Joe Tiller isn't coming back, unfortunately, for Purdue. But I think Michigan State's still a football school. But yeah, basketball makes the world go round, but they need football to be better than it's been or more consistent. And I like their hire of Jonathan Smith. They can't stop anybody. This will be a weekend. Man, have fun on Big Red Overreaction. If Nebraska plays under Dana again and they don't score a ton of points, because this is a weekend that is set up. If Nebraska is who we think they are offensively with the quarterback that they have, this should be a weekend that they put up a nice little crooked number. I'm not calling for a 50 burger or anything like that, but I'm thinking this is a 4 or 5 touchdown day for Nebraska. Now find a way not to allow 4 or 5 touchdowns on the other end.
I think you would love to have a Wisconsin game. Obviously, you'd love to score 44 points, and then we're all going to freak out and be like, oh my God, Dana's the guy, and Dylan is going to be like the Heisman Trophy winner and stuff like that. Do you think we still are at the point, like with Dana?
Yeah.
I understand if people were, I don't want to say hesitant, but are quick to point to the fact that, hey, yes, the offenses look better, but the points necessarily haven't.
It's all
been
about
there.
points. The yardage is great.
Do you think that Dana
need to happen
for people to have more trust in Dana, or for there to just be a no doubt this guy's incredible, he's the offensive coordinator? They need to have another point explosion.
Are you feeling that people are down on Dana?
I don't think people are down on Dana, but I don't think people are necessarily the highest on Dana that we've been. I think that after the Wisconsin game, there was an incredible amount of excitement.
So I'm just trying to figure out what you're saying here.
Yes.
You think that all year people have been down on Dana, like have been wanting more?
Well, wanting more, yes. I think wanting more for sure. They only scored 20 points against Cincinnati. Okay. They scored 27 points against Michigan, and I'm not going to totally hold the Hail Mary against them, but it did happen, and it was an unexpected play, right?
No, the Hail Mary counts. It would be the last touchdown that you would say, well, that was one where Michigan maybe did not have their regular defense.
I just think with Dana that there definitely is kind of the weird in between. I think, at least for me, I'll just speak upon myself. I'm in the weird in between of where I like what I visually see from Dana. And I like what I visually see from the offense. And I think that guys have gotten better on the offense. But at the same time, I look at the points that they've scored. And I definitely do have some questions on whether or not they are like, this looks great, but you have to turn it into actual points. And I think it hasn't been as easy as maybe we have made it out to be. And the offense and maybe just Dana's performance in general, while has been good, has not been very good, has not been great, has not been at an elite level. And so for me, I don't know if I necessarily need Nebraska to score 35 points for me to feel good about Dana or anything like that. But if they were to explode and if they were to absolutely dominate, I would feel great. But I still am like, you only scored 10 points against Iowa. You only scored 13 offensive points against USC. You scored 20 against Cincinnati. Like there are a little bit of like, I think my eyes when I'm seeing is a little bit better than what the results are actually happening on the scoreboard.
I don't have it. I know that we reference all of his games of the OC. I think we're kind of removed from last year because of the personnel. The personnel is different this year. I mean, we're 4 games in and people aren't losing their mind over Nebraska's wide receivers.
Yes.
Now the running back duo was better last year.
Much better. So
I think that maybe this just focus on the bookends of the 4 games so far.
I still think though that after the 20, I see the reason
and you've got
why,
a whole offseason with your quarterback compared to a flashcard, quickly around the world to get to know each other month.
But I do think though, we're only 2 Power 5 games though removed from.
We've got 8 games to play.
I know, but what I'm just saying is that we're only 2 Power 5 games removed from last season, and I know what you're saying in terms of the different personnel, and you have different guys out there, but you do have you do have some turnover, right? And you do still have some of the same guys, but I don't think 2 Power 5 games and where one of them you had a very similar result to what you had the season before in Cincinnati. And I mean, they scored 27 points against Michigan, so I'll give them that. But I haven't fully removed last season. Now, at the end
this is the whole discussion about points. It's not.
Yes.
I mean,
it's all about red zone.
I don't. Well, they have the number 2 passing offense in the country. I mean, that's kind of. I don't know about knocking an OC. It's all about points. That's what the discussion is. That's about points. They got to find a way to put points on the board because they're doing a good job putting yards up now, and a lot of it's tied into the red zone. I mean, you're talking about an offense that is number 2 in the country in passing offense.
No, and I'm not. I don't think I'm knocking him. I don't think I'm saying
that's why I'm saying it's all about points.
Yes.
So this is not. Yeah, that's their next thing is to get points.
Yeah, and I think that. I think that it's very interesting for me that when I look visually and when I watch them play offense, they should be scoring more points than what they actually are. I mean, they are outgaining in terms of how many yards they're getting and how much time they have the ball. They are outdoing themselves on the field in terms of what the actual points on the scoreboard.
They listen. They find a way to get into the red zone. They just got to find a way to get in the end zone. That's the simple thing for Nebraska moving forward. Nebraska is able to move the ball. They get to the red zone. Now get it in the end zone. And then this discussion is different.
Well, the discussion is that Dana is absolutely incredible and the offense is really, really good. And they're going to end up, their offense alone could probably end up propelling them to a 4-0 October. I think that's if their red zone efficiency.
Well, we got 8 games. Okay. So if that all goes, they just don't stop after 4. They play another 4.
But I'm looking at this in terms of being such an important chunk. Because it is a prime opportunity to prove that you have taken the next step as a program, which is winning the games that you are supposed to win, that you're favored in. Nebraska football, since 2021, 9 times they have been a favorite in a Big Ten game, and they've ended up losing. It's happened 4 times under Matt Rule. It happened 5 times in 2021 and 2022 combined. So, like last year, too, I think was a great example as to why I think this is just such a big step, because the 2 games that they've lost, they were over a touchdown favorite against. They were 7.5-point favorite against UCLA. They were 9.5-point favorite against Illinois. So I know 8 games, and you're totally right. Like, the season is more than just this chunk.
God, we need a game on Saturday. We need a game at 3:00 on Saturday. This kind of discussion, this leads You are reiterating my point about looking at Rule yesterday. What was he going to say? We got to go play.
Yeah.
All right, we're going to go play a game, and you'll see, and we'll make some changes, and then we play the next game. And
I know. What you're saying.
So let me ask you again: have you changed your prediction from 8-4?
No.
Okay.
No.
Right.
No. And I don't. And a Michigan State win wouldn't do that, right? And now a Michigan State loss would absolutely do that.
I haven't changed for the better. I would wonder about your ball knowing looking at Michigan State.
God, no. No.
All right. 38 past the hour. Good lineup. We'll talk a lot of ball here today. Also, playoff baseball this year. Yes. Playoff baseball. And we can reminisce about October 3rd, 1984.
I wasn't there.
I remember.
That would be amazing if you were there.
Yeah, it'd be a miracle.
I was already walking.
That would be yeah. I'm trying to think of what was that? 16. Were your parents like teenagers?
My mom graduated grade school in 1985.
Hell yes.
Okay.
So my dad.
So she was in fifth
Was there any
grade.
chance that they were at the Padre Cubs game 1 in 1984?
You know what? Dad could have been, because Dad would have been 22.
Oh,
Okay.
man.
So
yeah, living his
my
best
parents
life.
are 10 years apart for those who are trying to do math.
So,
well, I just
And-
said my. Some people get weird about that. At least,
Well, if they're in
How do they get
kindergarten,
weird?
yes,
not
but
about-
when they're
can I
grown
be
ups,
honest with you, you guys don't, like your generation, like your guys' age, you guys
Yeah.
don't get weird about that. The whole like 10-year thing.
Yeah.
When I tell my friends that my parents are 10 years apart, they think it's disgusting.
because you're 23.
They
They think 13.
they think it's weird.
I think it's perfectly fine.
I think 9 to 10 years is absolutely normal.
Yeah.
Yeah.
My grandparents were 7. They look the same. They were old.
That's why I said that, though, because some people get weird about that. They're like, at least I'm just used to like Gen
This isn't
Zers
Bill
being
Belichick
like-
here.
No, there are so many people.
Well, your
in my-
generation is getting married.
Well, my generation, they only date people who are their age. The amount of people that I know that are
Missing
just
out.
like they're all they're doing is getting married to people who are a year older or a year younger.
Don't do that.
That's
Matt.
changed. That's
Yeah.
changed. All right. We'll step aside. We'll be back. More of Gary and Matt after this on 1620 The Zone. 10.5, huh? The line remains at, the total is at 50.5.
That I would take over.
Yeah, I'm with you. So Michigan State has some problems stopping the pass. They allowed 523 yards to USC, 45 points. The total 50.5. I still have my Monday gut, 34-21 Nebraska, which would be which would cover and go over. But that's on Tuesday. I'll wait until Friday to see what my gut says. I got to take a little medication. Everything gets smoothed out down there.
That time of year?
Pantomeprazole.
Yes. And then boom, I will have my real prediction. But it feels like 34-21, but it stayed at 10.5.
I think that's a good gut.
Yeah. Rule, you asked yesterday, Rule has not won after a bye.
Really? I thought that was the case.
He'll win this Saturday.
Yeah, I hope. My Tuesday gut is 28-24. Nebraska.
Expecting a close game. Is this because every game is going to be close in college football?
Yes.
Okay.
And
I think that's absolutely fair.
And I definitely do have a hesitation of like just the run game. Like, I just don't know if Nebraska doesn't have, if Nebraska continues to have the run game that they have, where it's just not very effective. I just don't think that they're really going to be able to blow teams out. But I think that the passing game is one of the best in the country. I mean, you just look at all the statistics, right? Even the advanced statistics of like expected points added, like they are up there. Now, to your point, Michigan State's passing defense, their total EPA on pass plays this year is 40.09, which means that teams are adding 40 more points than expected when they throw the ball against Michigan State. That's 130th out of 136 games. So if there are Dylan prop bets out there,
so I said,
they're like
take Dylan if you got
bets.
fantasy, you play fantasy college football, which is awesome to play. Dylan would be a good pickup this weekend. Speaking of Nebraska quarterbacks, he's a really good guy. He brings his son to Nebraska basketball games in the offseason. He is one of the more underrated quarterbacks that gets forgotten about because he played for Callahan. Zach Taylor's probably his time is done in Cincinnati.
Yeah.
Now, no Joe Burrow. So the last two games, they have been obliterated. And last night, they got out yarded 522 or 512 to 159 after their good opening drive that only resulted in a field goal. I think were only in Denver territory once. Jamar Chase, 5 catches, 23 yards.
Oh, that's an impressive.
Yeah. Unless Russell Wilson or Kirk Cousins is coming through that door with that offensive line, they're a bad football team. It just seems, unfortunately, losing Burrow, that this is the end of the road, that Zach Taylor, it's time to go. They need a new voice because they also looked like last night, man, Aikman went there. They might have quit.
Yeah.
Well, I'm not going to say quit. They stopped competing.
They were not running the plays or playing in a manner in which it communicated to me that they were anywhere near the game, even with like 8 minutes to go.
Very defeated team.
Incredibly. And this
sucks. It's
guys,
a good team.
This is what happens when you put.
I'm so happy that they're not very good.
I know.
Well, yeah, because you don't.
And
have
I get
to deal
it.
with the Burrow head.
We're just knocking them off one at a time. Down go the Ravens. Down go the Bengals.
Whoa.
All of a sudden, Aaron Rodgers, a 41-year-old quarterback in that division, is looking pretty good.
First
you got
off,
Buffalo
wait.
and your division.
Let's backtrack. We have a lot of points to hit here. First off, yes, down go the Cincinnati Bengals because of their stupidity to invest so much money into wide receivers and have an injury-prone quarterback. Joe Burrow is officially injury-prone. He was injury-prone.
Well, you don't build your roster thinking he's going to get injured. Unfortunately, he is. But when he's healthy, he's one of the best in the league.
Yes.
Injuries suck.
But they invested so much in this wide receiving core that they can't even use it now because they don't have a guy under center that can even get the ball to Jamar Chase or T. Higgins.
It's a struggle bus for them to complete a pass.
Yeah.
Look at you smiling.
So Russell Wilson, what are you doing today?
No, they're not going to. Well,
you said no offensive line. Does he really want?
Well,
watching
the Bengals offensive line.
Kirk
we have not only we have a flag problem in this country, we have a offensive line problem. Poor offensive line play in the NFL is an epidemic.
Well,
okay, it's I don't know how you could ever expand in the NFL because I would think that offensive line on an expansion team would just be absolutely brutal.
What, you don't want to give Jermaine Ifedi another shot being a starting guard
No.
in the NFL?
No.
I don't know. I do think that Tom Brady, I thought he was an old man yelling at clouds a couple of years ago, but he's kind of been on this escapade that college football, unfortunately, because of the transfer portal era and the NIL and having to play guys really quickly, that college football players aren't getting properly developed like they used to before they
They
get
show up not ready
the
to
league.
play in the
Now
league.
that's Tom Brady. I would love to hear
He knows
what a
ball.
college coach would think
Mhm.
about that, and like not have a debate, but like just hear their thoughts if that's something that they're also seeing. But man, the Bengals don't put like 25% of your salary cap into wide receivers, and then when your quarterback gets hurt, goes, why is our defense so bad? Why is our offensive line so bad? Why can't we get the ball to our wide receivers? It's a very poorly constructed roster. And the Bengals think that they're all great now because they're finally spending money.
Yeah, I imagine that Zach Taylor won't be unemployed very long.
No,
I mean, he'll get picked up. I don't know about a head coach, but
sometimes
in
it's good
terms
for both
of
parties.
Being an OC somewhere, yeah, I don't know. I think it's probably run its course. Like last night was a bad look. That's 2 straight games since Burrow went out that they've lost by 25 or more. They weren't even close last night.
No.
And then everything will be shown. And I think it was probably, just 2 competitors getting at each other. As the Jamar Chase conversation with Zach Taylor, which wasn't heated, but because you're losing 28-3 and your star wide receiver is talking to your play caller, that's going to draw attention.
Yeah.
I just think it's probably time to go for Zach, and he'll find another place. And they just weren't able to keep Burrow upright and to get back and win a Super Bowl.
Oh.
But they went all in. I don't have a problem with them going all in because the window with Burrow is going to be short. It's just when you don't have Burrow, you got to find you can't have Jake Browning as your backup. That's why I'm making a call to Russell Wilson. I'm calling the Giants.
I don't think it's a bad thinking about it because of how
All right, we'll do Chase for Russ.
Well, how Russ is so accurate outside the numbers, I actually do think Jamar Chase and T. Higgins would be 2 very good wide receivers for him to throw the ball to.
He's not going to cure everything, but he's better than what you currently have.
An old pro.
I'm looking at your schedule. I mean, they have 2 wins now. Their next 3 games are really tough. And then I'm looking beyond that. Are they going to get to 4, 5, 6 wins? And then Burrow's supposed to come back in December.
Won't matter.
Well,
by then.
I was about
And
to
they'll
say-
make a run. They'll make a run, and they'll be like on the cusp of the last 2 weeks of, hey, they need help. They need 3 other teams to lose, and then they need the sun to come up in Cleveland, and Cincinnati needs to win, and they might get in.
And
Nobody
they'll get all
wants to
pissy
play
at
'em.
Chiefs at the Chiefs because they didn't play their starters in a Week 18 game where they already have the first round bye clinched. I mean, that be deja vu, baby. Now, I want to go back to something. You did not kill the Ravens. The Ravens are not dead. The Ravens are not done.
Their defense is dead.
Their defense,
It's terrible.
So first off, they did
Awful.
this last
They
year.
have too many injuries.
That is a good point. They are picking up random ass people and putting them on the defensive line, and their run defense is absolutely terrible. I give you that. They did do this though in the secondary last year, where they were god awful through the first 10 weeks, and then somehow they just kind of figured out how to flip it around in the last 8 weeks of the season. And now, granted, they didn't win the Super Bowl or anything, so I'm not complete. I don't think you could say you killed the Ravens.
They're done.
yet.
Ravens
They're
are
not
dead.
done. They're 4 weeks into
Moving
the
on.
year.
I might
They're
have dri-
incredibly
I might have
talented.
driven across them on
Yeah.
Leavenworth yesterday.
Your
Tried
move,
to- I
Buffalo.
tried to avoid a cone that is on every street in Omaha, and I think there was a raven laying in the middle of the street. Or was that a possum? I
It's
don't know.
probably a possum.
I don't know.
They are not dead. They still have an incredible. They have one of the best quarterbacks
At
ever.
night.
Okay,
Who got
they
hurt?
have Derek. Yes, he's out for a couple weeks, so they're going to have to play.
Can you?
through that.
What?
They're not dead.
ever.
Derek. He's
Ever?
one statistically. He's one of the best quarterbacks ever. He's got multiple MVPs. He's no quarterback.
Lamar
has
Jackson
run-
is really, really good, but
no
ever?
quarterback has
I'll
has
take
ever
Pat. He wins
has
Super
ever
Bowls.
won as much as he has, at least in the regular season, to start his career. No quarterback already has has run for more yards than he has. He is the greatest rushing
Ever?
quarterback of all time. His touchdown interception ratio is absolutely off the charts. He's won multiple MVPs.
Remember that
He's
AFC
led the
Championship
Ravens-
2 years ago?
Look, he is on path to being one of the greatest quarterbacks ever. Statistically, there are very few quarterbacks who have been as effective game by game as
Dan
as Lamar
Fouts was
Jackson
great.
has been.
What Super
Marino
Bowl
was
was
great.
he in?
Okay. Yes, you could say that. But at the same time, I mean, we talk about Josh Allen incredibly highly. He hasn't been in the Super Bowl ever.
Yeah, but I don't ever say ever. I don't
He's-
ever say the word ever.
Lamar Jackson, game to game, statistically, if you look at it,
No,
is one of the
Lamar's
greatest quarterbacks ever.
I think Lamar is
He is.
one of the really, really, really good quarterbacks. But
Mhm.
ever,
Rings. That's it.
I think I mean,
I
what-
don't agree with
what
the
it-
rings. That's it.
Rings.
okay, so let's go head to head. What has he done against Mahomes?
I'm Mahomes is the second or third greatest quarterback of all time right now.
All right, just
I'm not disputing that.
ever.
Yes, he is incredible.
Oh, I know my quarterback is.
You look good.
He did look good. They called a
called a good
gave
game
him a
for him.
deep threat, and everyone was so shocked. The idiots that have been like, "Oh, he hasn't looked that good statistically." He hasn't been given the weapons to look good statistically. They finally give him that weapon in Xavier Worthy, and he looked like $1 million.
Still a work in progress. We gotta. We're baby steps in Kansas City. All right, big game next Monday against Jacksonville.
You got to pick a slant. Are you baby steps, or did you kill the Ravens?
We can do both.
So that's how powerful you are. You can take small steps and still end the
We
team
didn't. We
and
didn't.
the hopes of a
We were
contender.
just one of the few that have now killed the Ravens.
They
Plus,
are
Lamar
not dead.
Lamar has a hammy. That's going to impact him.
They're not dead.
And they forgot about Derrick Henry running the football.
So that is a problem.
They're dead.
They're
All right.
not dead.
It was nice to know you. It was nice
Was.
to know you.
We're
I like them.
4
Yeah.
games in.
Love Lamar.
Nobody's dead except for the Tennessee Titans
And the Dallas
They are
Cowboys.
dead.
Let's get it right.
Dallas Cowboys.
Titans,
are dead.
Saints, and
They're
Jets.
dead.
All right. Next hour is upcoming, which will include Sam McEwen on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome to Playoff Baseball, where we get 4 games today. Yes. So I'm ready to be. I'm emotionally all in. I'm ready for it.
Be a fun place to work this month if they get on a run here.
It will be.
A lot of
there
people.
are 3 of us, but I'm ready to be just emotionally all invested, and it's not because they're going to make a run and they're going to win the World Series because they have some challenges. Heck, I think it's going to be tough for them to beat the Padres in 3. But, and I always say, this can't be it. This can't be it. You can't end. And I don't want them playing at Wrigley Field either, by the way. I wish this was at Petco Park.
Oh.
Why?
Oh.
Because even though the visuals are going to be great and it's going to be 3-day games at Wrigley Field, or at least 2-day games.
I see what you're getting at here.
Is the one thing about Wrigley Field, and I also imagine the Ricketts are not very happy with being day games.
Oh, sure.
Because if you look on the
great.
secondary market,
Oh.
so I was trying to do the math. I've done it twice where I've left here, gone to the airport, got on a flight, flew to Chicago, but I can't do it today.
Oh,
Now it would be
flex.
it's a tight because it's a 2:00 first pitch. I did it once when they had a 3:00 first pitch, so I was able to pull it off. So it's a tight window. So I was just looking just for fun. The secondary market has like good prices on tickets, and I think a little bit it has to do with day games. Which, if you're the ownership, you would like, give us a day game, but also give us a night game. But beside the point is the one thing about Wrigley, and it'll still find a way to be packed, is, and I've been there numerous times in big games, is when you don't grab a lead and you're playing from behind, and the Cubs have to score first. They're 66-18 this year when they score first. It's a whole different. When they score first, they're front runners.
Yeah.
When they are playing from behind, and a getting emotional, and I'm all in. I'm ready to be hurt, okay, because that's what you do as a fan. I'm ready to be hurt by the Cubs because they've hurt me before. At least one time in my lifetime, I've gotten to celebrate and cry good tears. Is Matthew Boyd talking about how much it means for him to pitch, and him breaking down yesterday. And then I'm reading Pete Crow Armstrong writes a tribute, and it kind of talks about what 18 to 23-year-olds deal with when they're in the spotlight.
Yeah.
And I'm thinking, man, it's going to be really hard not to like this kid, and I hope he plays his whole career. And then he drops in, yeah, I was just on YouTube the other day, and I was watching 16 World Series highlights, and I'm like, and then yesterday they dropped the trailer.
Oh,
Anthony Rizzo is voicing the trailer, the hype video, which is weird to say in baseball. You have a hype video. And I'm like, you know what? If this was football, I'd run through a brick wall. So I'm here. I'm gonna at 2:00 today. I'm gonna apply the cod piece. I'm ready to get kicked there. I'm also ready to celebrate. But I am all emotionally in with this baseball team.
You've been emotionally in since May. I
Birth.
mean,
But they've given me
like-
there was a stretch there in July. I was like, there was a series in Atlanta where they had I was more offensive during a 3-day stretch than the Cubs were. And I'm like, this is going to end like every Cubs season, except for a couple. But now they're very likable. They're very
they are a
likable
likable
team,
That's a good point.
but they're not like a favorite. And I know they will not win the World Series. So I'm like, you know what? I like these guys. Some of them are going to be gone next year. I'm glad we're not the Angels, who haven't been in the postseason in 11 years
Okay.
since they lost to the Royals.
So you can, because this is me talking baseball. So you can, slap me if you think I'm
No,
wrong.
you're fine. As long as you say Ohtani's a GOAT.
He's not the GOAT. Not yet. I think that I've always identified that when you get into the MLB playoffs, you can be one of two things. You can either be juggernaut or you can be magical.
Mm-hmm.
Right? So Seattle this year, they're magical. Like that's a magical team. That's a magical run. I think the Guardians, with how they came back all the way to make the playoffs, they got a little magic in them.
Mm-hmm.
I think the Dodgers are just juggernauts, right? Where it's just, and I think Philly you could throw in there too, where it's just like,
See, I think it's if I gave you Philly or the field, what would you take?
I think I might take Philly.
Field.
They're that good, and they're built. They're also
They're
built,
good.
and they're built for the playoffs, and they've been in the playoffs so many times, and
They
they
gotta get it
have that
done.
valuable playoff experience, and they've been, and also too, it's not just they've had playoff experience; they've had playoff experience together, like as that.
They've
that,
lost the
that
7th
core
game at
group.
home together.
I would
No,
say
they're
Gotta
like
get it done.
They're like really good. Remember, they lost Zach Wheeler, and Sanchez has been fantastic. Schwarber has been hitting dongs. Trey Turner wins the batting title, only hitting 304. Ooh, batting average.
I know.
Batting average discussion is dead. No, we're together. I would take the Phillies over the field. I think it's gonna be tough to find somebody from the American League to win the World Series. I'd love to have Seattle because that's a great atmosphere.
Great story.
I mean, Milwaukee, Dodgers, Phillies, and then Seattle.
So the Blue Jays kind of had they veered off toward the end of the season, and so
They had to hold off the Yankees. Yankees played much better last 40 games or so.
I think you could go Seattle, Philly, and that would probably be a pretty good prediction. But you never know. What if the Cubs do become magical? What if they do win a game today?
Seattle and the Cubs.
They're down 2-1.
The only way
It's
they
the
become
bottom.
magical is if Cade Horton all of a sudden becomes healthy. Because you did not trade for an ace at the deadline because your ace was Cade Horton.
What do you mean?
That's
They got
Cubdom.
Soroka. They did. They got Willie Castro. What are you complaining about? They won 92 games.
I'm
What do
not
you mean
complaining.
they didn't buy at the deadline?
But you got to have an ace in the postseason. My
You do.
ace has a cracked rib because he sneezed.
Is that really what happened?
He sneezed or coughed. He got sick and
This
he
is what
coughed and he
happens when you
broke
get
his
older.
rib.
Well, okay, Jimmy, you can't use that logic though. If this is what happens when you get older,
It's
because that's a
true.
world-class athlete, though.
But
That
he's getting
shouldn't
older.
happen.
It shouldn't
Same
happen.
thing with
but it
like when
does.
Dustin Johnson like broke his something when he was walking down the stairs at like a major. Like you shouldn't be falling downstairs and you shouldn't be cracking ribs sneezing.
Shouldn't, yet we do.
Yeah. Tim Brando's doing the game this weekend
Yeah.
on FS1.
Should be good. I haven't.
I
Heard
know
Tim,
one
I
comedian
haven't
is
heard
happy.
Tim Brando do baseball.
He's not doing baseball.
Football.
Oh,
He's doing the
football.
Nebraska game.
Oh.
Yeah.
I
He
thought you
loves
were
coming to Lincoln.
I like
He
Tim Brando.
loves Tim Brando.
I like Tim Brando. Likes Tim Brando.
Tim Brando loves Tim Brando.
I tried getting him on one time on the show, and then he said he would come on, and then he didn't come on.
Like this show or another?
No, this show.
Oh, yeah.
I was trying to get him early on in the year when I wanted to talk Northwestern basketball with him because they had just
Well, that
beaten.
explains
You were
why.
gone. You were seriously. This is the things I tried to do.
You're gonna talk Northwestern basketball while I'm gone.
Yes, the things that we talk about and the things that we do and the guests that we get when you're gone, it very is much like just me being like, okay, like we're just gonna do a bunch of random stuff. Like I'm just throwing stuff against the wall. So Northwestern had just lost that terrible game to Penn State. You remember this game? in
No, I do
January
not.
When they got fouled.
I remember Nebraska losing at Penn State.
Well, anyway,
By the way, did you see my guy yesterday?
I don't. What did he do? Look skinny?
No. He must be getting after it.
Oh my!
They put out a picture of him. He had a bandage on his chin.
Oh,
He had a knee brace.
Yeah, because he's so clumsy. He's
Hell
probably
yeah.
falling on the
Oh,
floor.
I bet he's diving for loose balls.
Yeah.
I bet he's putting dents in walls
the
down
next
at the
lane beer.
Hendricks. I was going to blow that up and put it on my right above my bed.
Put it back here. It's all that empty space.
How terrible would it be if you grew up like a Nebraska basketball fan? You're like, who'd you have a fat head of? I had Cale Jacobson. That's who I had. No, I was a Frager guy growing up. Bear K, look, I don't want.
I just
this
know that he's not going to play much, so that's okay.
Okay, so that's
Hey,
We'll
we don't
see.
always have to root for the starters. You know what?
Hmm.
Good teams are built by their bench.
Gotta have a sixth man.
I just
That's
don't
what
want Bear
Wooden
K.
said.
I just don't want Bear K to think that I don't like him or I dislike him or anything like that. It's just you.
He
are
listens.
just- no, you're just fully enveloped in the Bear K hype train. That I feel like. Look, you are.
He will have one game this year where he does really well, and they don't have like 26 other games where he's either not a factor or doesn't do well. I just want one moment. I want one
You
moment
know
with
that
the Turkish Nightmare, but they put out a picture yesterday. I was like, everybody's getting all excited about Sanford because they showed him shooting.
Sure.
I'm like,
Has
But
he
I'm like,
been,
oh, Bear K.
has he been working on his shot? Have they been
Who?
saying that?
Bear
Bear
K?
K? Have they said that he's working on a shot? Because that could be a concern. Because
Like it could get worse.
yeah, no,
Oh.
not get worse. You know what I'm about to say here. If Bear K is working on his shot during the offseason, that means he's making 3-pointers. That means that he thinks that he can shoot the 3-point shot.
Oh,
Which means
okay,
that
it's a
when he
backhand.
gets into the season and he makes one, he is going to think that he is on a heater or that he can make more. And then you know where I'm going. He's going to take 4 more 3-pointers
Fire.
and
they'll
waste
find
4
him
possessions.
driving a kick out, and there is the Turkish Nightmare. with
Driving a
corner
kick
three.
out. He didn't do that once last
No,
year.
somebody will drive and kick out to him. We're going to create offense for him. We'll put him on the elbow.
No, you won't.
And then he'll take one big Turkish step back. He'll be behind the 3-point line, and up it will go, and
Oh,
then
I
it will
see.
clank off the side of the rim.
What's a Turkish step back in comparison to an American step back? Is it a little
the
bit?
metric system.
Yeah.
it's
Oh,
different.
it's in meters. I just, this is a good bit, but I mean, for the sake of this basketball team, I really hope you end up being right. They're gonna need him. Does that scare you a little bit that if they're going to
See
make a
this
pretty
picture.
good run in the Big Ten, that they're
Yes.
going to need him to play good
Yes.
basketball? Because it
Yes.
would scare the crap out of me.
Yes. All right. Preseason 12th in the Big Ten. That's my prediction. End of the season, 10th in the Big Ten.
That's good. That's progress.
Hmm.
That's in the
A
tournament.
lot of teams in the Big
probably.
Ten.
I think so. 10 teams.
How many teams did they get last year? They got a lot of teams.
I just know that he's probably going to be matched up with the best player to play in the state of Nebraska this year in a couple of weeks in an exhibition game. I will reserve judgment on my progress of the Turkish Nightmare.
Were
Uh,
you talking about AJ Dybanska?
Yes.
That's going to be a bloodbath.
It's okay. It's okay.
It is. It is not going to be.
It does
fun.
not go in the standings. Might be the best team.
It's a workout.
The best team and the best player to play in Nebraska this year will be an exhibition game.
I don't really know the.
I wonder what the crowd will be
Schedule off
like.
the top
You know,
of my
they
head.
they're
It
like
should be a lot.
they're selling tickets.
Oh, nice.
That game is the Saturday after the Minnesota game.
How many times has
18th?
like the projected number 1 overall pick been in the played at Pinnacle Bank Arena?
At PBA,
Yeah, or just in the state of Nebraska.
There've been lots.
Has okay, maybe recently. When was the last? Like Cooper Flag didn't play here.
No,
Zion didn't play here.
breaking news.
Anthony Bennett didn't play here.
he did not.
Wiggins, did Wiggins ever play? Did Kansas ever play Creighton in Omaha?
No.
Nope. And Nebraska was already in the Big Ten when he
Mhm.
was at KU.
Did Memphis ever make a trip out?
No.
Somebody.
It'd be a good question to ask.
Yeah. Probably the 1 year that Durant was at Texas.
Oh, but he was the
But
number
I'm
2
talking like the
overall.
high.
the highest.
Yeah.
Like the
Did
stud.
Lonzo ever play UCLA? You ever come here?
No. He did not. He did not. But Tim Brando's doing the game on FS1. But Tim Brando likes to, he's very much into the social media, likes to take a lot of pictures of himself. He loves Nebraska. He will, we should do a bingo card for Tim Brando because he does love Nebraska. Remember, he was the one that commented about Frost in his first game. He was so excited to do the Akron game, and then
Dancing during the rain.
it happened. But he does, like, he's a big booster of like the atmosphere and
Mhm.
coming to Nebraska. He doesn't come here very often,
No, that's why he's
Uh,
excited. He's pumped.
but you know, he comes back and he plays, or he's good friends with Larry the Cable Guy. So I
Really?
think he comes back and he'll play in his golf tournament. He's a big golfer.
Okay.
Yeah.
I did not know that.
But
A decent swing.
Brando is the guy that they stick on the Friday night game and then like, hey, we'll give you the backup Saturday game. Every Friday night he's doing a game. He was doing the Arizona State TCU game this
That's a good
past
gig.
weekend.
What
But
did
he's
you-
back in Lincoln doing
What-
Nebraska, Michigan State.
I was watching the game yesterday, and I thought of you. What do you think of Orlovsky?
I don't like him on games.
Okay.
I like him on NFL Live,
Mhm.
and then periodically when I see clips of him like on Get Up or First Take.
Okay.
I had to think what that show was called.
How could you forget? We watch it every day. It's up here.
I just don't. But I don't go home and I don't record it and go home and watch it.
Are there any?
I think
Ooh.
Orlovsky's a really good studio guy, and then
He's
he's
a great
great.
studio guy.
I see him more. He's a great guest on McAfee, but I don't
Yeah.
like him like in the booth. But then I like Louis Riddick in the booth compared to being on a set.
Yeah,
And
but
I also think that ESPN, it must be in his contract about Fowler does the extra NFL game.
Mhm.
There are probably 15 to 20 guys at ESPN that are better, that would be better to do the NFL than Fowler.
Well, yeah, I've never been the biggest fan of. I like guys. Now, look, I know that I might get killed here on probably one or two
Won't be the
different
first time.
dudes who go back and forth. But I kind of like it when the college football guys does college football and the
Yeah.
NFL guys do the NFL.
What's wrong with that?
Like
That's good.
I
That's good opinion.
don't like Herb Street doing
Well,
the
because
NFL.
you associate their voice.
Exactly.
And so Fowler lives in Miami, but it's probably in his contract that he gets to do the extra NFL game. I did like last night, even though those two games feel like the noon window on a regular Sunday that were played yesterday. I do like if they're going to do a doubleheader in the NFL, to space them like that, not
I do
back to
too.
back, but to space them.
Oh,
Where
yeah.
you got
No 9 o'clock
ESPN,
games.
Miami and the Jets kick off on
Mhm.
ESPN, and then ABC has the Bengals and the Broncos. But the multi-view comes in handy for games like that.
Are there?
Monday Night Football doubleheaders could survive with the multi-view. If you'd all
Yeah.
get YouTube TV, which might kick off Channel 6. NBC might be off of Peacock.
Yeah.
Or Peacock, or the whole Peacock thing might be off of YouTube TV by the end of the weekend.
I was kind of startled on Friday when I was watching the Ryder Cup and that thing on the USA Network like
Just
flashed
the
above.
scroll the
Yeah.
whole time.
Yeah.
That
I thought-
time of the year, I guess.
I thought I was getting hacked because I was like the wording of it too, like YouTube TV's back at it again. Like I'm like, all right, that's one hell of a way to get them to re-sign your contract by taking a backhand at them on your own station. But I mean, it is what it is. I like Orlovsky a lot on the analyst. I think I probably like him more than most people. I thought he was really, really good. And I think NFL Live might be the only show on ESPN that I am actively like, all right,
Mhm.
like I want to watch that. I want to see what they're talking about and like having them go around the league. I think it's very quickly, especially when they have Mina Kimes doing like 8 segments on that show, has become an incredibly underrated and undervalued entity of ESPN.
All right, Sam McEwen's coming up here in about 15 minutes ahead of Nebraska, Michigan State. Also today will be the first time that the coordinators have spoken since Michigan.
Really?
Mm-hmm. Wonder if John Butler will talk about the number 1 PFF graded quarterback in college football right now.
Aiden Childs?
Nope.
Dylan Raiola?
That win in Kansas City may age pretty well for Nebraska. Cincinnati's now a favorite against Iowa State. Sorsby is the number 1 PFF quarterback in college football right now.
What happens when he faces a tissue paper defense?
Well, that's where you have to go, oh, yeah, they faced KU's defense that gave up over 600.
They also played Northwestern State, okay, and
Hey,
scored 35
stop
points in
spitting
the
facts.
first quarter. Okay.
We're gonna drive this narrative. Nebraska, that Cincinnati win.
Oh, yeah.
May 8, like if they beat Iowa State this weekend, watch people
yeah.
lose their mind if they're ranked. It'll just make you hate the Michigan result even more.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Oh, God, yeah.
All right, Sam McEwen's still to come this hour. Sarah Baker Hansen, also Brian Christopherson, Andy Kendi on a Tuesday edition of Gary and Matt on 1620 The Zone. Last night, as the double dip of Monday Night Football, we may have seen not only the end of the tenure of Zach Taylor in Cincinnati, but Tyreek Hill's career is over as we once used to know it.
Karma.
I mean, hey, he for all of the stuff he put the Chiefs through, he was part of a Super Bowl team, and they made the decision to move on. He has not been the same player for a while in Miami. And last night, a severe dislocated knee, which if you're squeamish, don't watch. If you think you can handle it, go ahead and watch it. It was not good. Whoever was running the director, I don't think they realized when it happened.
No, because real quickly you look and it's like,
because then they ran a replay.
Oh,
so I don't
We'll be
think
right
they
back.
realized that his foot and his ankle and all that stuff was going in 32 different directions. But we had Tank Dell last night. So Tank Dell still has not come back, who got hurt.
Yeah.
Very similar with the Texans last year.
Yeah.
And now Tyreek Hill, who is 32, could be 33 when he comes back. Usually that's a little past your prime as a wide receiver, and he was already
Predicated on speed.
starting to go down. I mean, not go downhill, but he hasn't been what Tyreek Hill has been. So I think that is probably it for Tyreek Hill.
I could maybe see him trying to do a comeback and maybe having an Odell Beckham Jr. role where, he's on the Ravens. Oh, he's on the Rams. Oh, he's
right.
hired
gun.
Yeah. Just a weird.
He has experience.
It'll be week 8 and he gets this long touchdown. Like Deshaun Jackson had that at the end of his career where you're like, oh my God, DJ's on the Rams. I mean, it looks like he's a Mountaineer again. But I think you're right in terms of how we know it. Like as we know Tyreek Hill's career, I don't think you're going to have another 1,000-yard season. I don't think you're going to have another Pro Bowl season. I think the whole hoopla of will he get traded? I don't want to be here anymore. Is done. And maybe it's probably the best for the Dolphins that they don't have that consistent talk and drama. And for being honest, like Miami's defense is terrible. Miami's defense is atrocious. I mean, that defensive line, first off, the Jets' offensive line is brutal, and they were bullying them. But their pass game, they're doing a little more quick game with Tua. He's getting the ball out quickly.
They ran
They're
the ball
kind of
more.
negating their mid offensive line. Mike McDaniel's kind of in his bag. He's
Looks like he's
back to
aged
doing some
20
trick
years.
plays.
It was a
He's setting up some good
Bad
things.
team they played last night. That feels like a one and done year for Aaron Glenn. They're just so bad.
Really?
And
You think it's one and done?
They are so sloppy. And
Well,
I mean, unfortunately,
yeah.
because I would love to watch Garrett Wilson catch touchdown passes the way he caught a touchdown pass last night, which is going to be one of the best catches of the year. Back to Tyreek Hill. He hasn't been the same player like the last couple of years. And you're asking for him because that is nasty. I mean, if Tank Dell is not back yet, Tyreek Hill isn't going to come back a year from now. And again, you're at an age with a wide receiver. You're at an age with a wide receiver that how many wide receivers are among the top wide receivers when they're 33 years old?
Not a
So
ton.
he's had a career. He got a Super Bowl title. He got paid. I could see him doing that route, but OBJ is still, OBJ would love to play for the Giants, but nobody's going to sign him.
No. Well, he's done. OBJ is officially over, but OBJ would have won the Super Bowl MVP for the Rams if he didn't tear his. I mean, he was absolutely killing it for that.
You guys want to see that injury again? Everybody immediately says, "Don't show it, don't show it." Oh, you're squeamish. Don't look away.
Of course, I'm gonna.
I don't want to watch Theismann.
I never want to see that injury again.
Yeah.
I honestly saw it against my will because I was looking. I was making dinner and I come back and all of a sudden he's getting carted off. So I didn't even see it at first, and then I saw it on Twitter.
Tyree.
By the way, weird reaction getting carted off the field. Like weird reaction by Tyreek Hill. Did you see what he was like?
I know. There's video out there of him last night at the hospital. He was laughing and
morphine's a hell of a drug.
No.
Oh, he looked happy.
He gets hurt and he's on the
No,
cart
I know.
and they're taking him off and he's laughing and clapping his hands and he's looking up going, "Thank you."
Well, I don't know. There's got to be a shock part. I mean,
he grabbed he looked like
maybe. But also too, when you couple in the history of the fact that since July.
So you think he might have been like, "I'm happy I'm no longer have to be a Dolphin.
I
know
don't
that's
know.
such a weird like it.
But he's a different cat, so I see what
injury-
you mean.
The injury where it's like, oh my, I mean, there's like pure shock because we've seen other like weird reactions of players that
Oh,
have
sure.
major injuries, and you're like,
That was
Whoa.
though very bizarre. That was one of the more bizarre ones
He
when
is-
you're literally looking up to
he-
the sky.
He is
and
bizarre to
thinking
begin with.
Mhm.
You're
Like I know, I get what you're saying because
like,
there's a video of him in the hospital where he's laughing and he looks happy. I don't know if that's a reaction to oh my god, or if that's like I'm in shock.
I don't know. I think it would just be like a.
So you think he was like, oh, this is the injury to get me out of Miami?
I'm not going to speculate.
That'd be wild if
That
that
would be.
if that was true.
But
There's other ways to go about getting
Yeah.
out of Miami.
Yeah, just say, you know what, I'm done.
it just was incredibly bizarre that he was a guy that actively did not want to be on that football team.
He's
and
bizarre to
has-
begin with.
Had said everything you possibly could to try and get a front office to go ahead and trade you, and also did no favors for himself off of the field as well, and still can't get off the team. And then you get hurt like that, and you're looking up saying thank you. We're just bizarre. It's so weird.
All right, Sam McEwen from the World Herald joins us next ahead of Nebraska and Michigan State off a bye week. We'll get Sam's thoughts. Also, we'll talk some general college football as we now have adopted Cincinnati around here. Go Bearcats! Beat Iowa State. Not many teams have. Iowa State's won 9 of their last 10.
Really good stat.
Ah.
Last loss game.
Be a
Arizona
tough game.
State, Big 12
You know, if they didn't play in a
championship
JV league, people talk more about Iowa State. Maybe it's because they're in Ames. Ames.
game. Not a JV league.
Ames is fun.
It's a JV
It's
league.
not JV.
It's a good thing that they got basketball.
Matt
Guys
does
are
love the Big 12.
practicing.
I should have taken you with me.
I do love the Big 12. I enjoyed Big 12 football this year. Has been a ton of fun. Did you see that Arizona State TCU game?
It was
Josh
good.
Hoover absolutely falls apart.
Hmm.
Can't get there anywhere else. It's a good mix of like good and bad football at the same time.
Houston's going to be back, baby. Watch for them.
They beat what? Did they win
The
last week
Cougs?
too? Who'd they beat?
Oh, yeah.
Calvin Sampson, you watch.
Oh,
after losing
that.
the final.
I'm thinking Willie Fritz.
All right, Sam McEwen's coming up next. All right, Nebraska, Michigan State this weekend. They played some interesting games going all the way back to 1995 at Spartan Stadium. Tony Banks at quarterback. Nebraska had a guy named Tommy Frazier. All the way to what will happen on Saturday, where one team will have Dylan Raiola, the other will have Aiden Childs. Some interesting games in between. Sam McCune of the World Herald joins us. Good morning.
Good morning. How are you?
Good. Your initial thoughts on this matchup between Nebraska and Michigan State. Nebraska is a healthy favorite in a game that has had interesting moments in the history of Nebraska football over the last decade.
Yes, Nebraska should be favored. I think their offense is going to be hard for Michigan State to stop, or should be, based on the things that Michigan State has not accomplished so far this year on defense. Very bad pass rush for Michigan State. Very bad pass defense against both Boston College and USC. Now, a bye week can change that. There's in theory things that you can try to fix in a bye week, and you got 4 games of tape to watch. So maybe Michigan State will come out with a different kind of strategy. And the way that Nebraska has struggled to win games that it should win over the years would surprise me if it goes into the fourth quarter. But I do think Nebraska is the better team. Key, I think, is don't let Michigan State get loose early. Don't let them get 10 quick points on a big play, or Aiden Childs doing something off schedule out of the pocket. Keep him in the pocket. Trust your offense to get things done as the game goes on, and roll on to the next week.
A comment yesterday from Matt Rule I found interesting was, the only way that you're going to get better at defending the run is if you practice defending the run. And
absolutely.
And he was kind of making that point, like, hey, in the bye week, we've done a lot of work, to make sure that we're better at doing that. Is it fair to ask, though, Sam, like, why has it taken this long for them to develop that? And why do they, in the bye week, and you're 4 weeks into the third year of your program, that still is a thing that you have to continue to practice to defend the run? Because is it fair to ask that question because they've had some of these guys now in their program at the D line for a little bit?
You still got to practice it. And I think the other thing is that Nebraska's pared its run game down a little bit. Obviously, they're not running counter toss the way they did 2 years ago, or triple option and things that are more physical than, inside zone and some of the other things that they're doing. I think that's part of it. I think that this is a young defensive line that maybe didn't have as much practice at some of these things in the context of a Big Ten. So Ty Robinson, Nash Hutmacher, Jamari Butler, they had not only experienced what Nebraska was trying to do, but they had experienced what Michigan and Iowa and Wisconsin and all of these other teams were trying to do too. And so you build up a body of knowledge over the course of 4 years, and you don't go into the Ohio State game surprised. You know what the effort's going to be, and you know what it's going to take, and you kind of have a sense of what Ohio State's going to try to do, and you're able to play a great game against the run accordingly. I think this group, you're talking about some guys that just really haven't really been in that setting very much. You have Judy has, but Williams is still figuring it out, and Riley Van Poppel's really not played that much football, and so I think that's part of it. I'm sure they worked on it in the bye week. I'm sure that they worked on physicality. I'm sure it was a concern coming out of the Michigan game, and Michigan State is a large team. They're big.
Mm-hmm.
I don't know that they're super strong, and they're not very athletic generally on their lines of scrimmage, but they will come in and they will run the football, or try to, and Nebraska's going to have to be ready for that.
Let's, like now we've gone through the first 4. The next 4 are in October, and then 4 more important games in November. And we know what the schedule is. Maryland's the only unbeaten team. There is Minnesota on a short week. Then there is Northwestern, but we've talked about Michigan State. I also think this is a moving month. And Rule kind of alluded to yesterday of, guys you might see a little bit more that are going to get their snap count increased. Let me give you 2 guys. Your thoughts on their first 4 games and what it would look like in their next 4 and maybe beyond. Watson Trent and Carter Nelson.
That's interesting. So, yeah, I think Watson Trent has he's played all right. I think you're talking about the fifth-year guy. Yeah, he's played okay. I think he had his suddenness is something that I think they've got to continue to work on, whether that's in diagnosing plays or in pursuit. And that's a guy that I feel like I think Javen Wright and Vincent Shavers are more sudden, and Wright's played pretty well so far this year. Not perfect, but pretty well. And Shavers has made multiple splash plays. I think Watson Trent's got to continue to come in that area. Carter Nelson is, I think they're still trying to adjust him to what he's going to do. So is he going to be a tight end or is he going to be a slot? And that's one of the ongoing questions. It feels like Lindenmeyer and Harburg are going to be your tight ends, and then you can bring in Turner Corcoran as a third tight end with a tight end jersey on, or you can bring in Echternach if you want to go jumbo and you want to put a guy in the backfield. That seems to be the lineup right now. And then maybe Ingerson, if he keeps coming, can be in that Corcoran role. So what do you do with Carter Nelson?
Yep.
Well, first of all, we don't know if the 5-for-5 is going to pass. And so this is his fifth game coming up. And if he plays in it, I think there's a confidence, well, okay, the 5-for-5 thing's eventually going to pass and he'll get his fifth year. I think he could be more, you could see him a little bit more flexed out. How do you get him going that way? How do you get him out in space making plays? They have not done a lot with Carter Nelson this year. Let's be honest. They haven't. He hasn't played much tight end, and he has not been a flexed out guy. They feel good about their receivers for sure, but I also think there's things that Carter can do for you, and so they've got to try to figure those things out. Remember, they had a switch in offensive coordinators, and I do think, Marcus Satterfield was a flawed in many ways, but he did have a vision for Carter Nelson, and I don't know that Dana Holgorsen necessarily had a specific vision the way that Satterfield did. And I'm not trying to knock Holgorsen for this. I think their offense is better than it was last year. So, you have to figure out what you want to do with Nelson, and then he needs to get healthy, fully healthy. But, Satterfield recruited Nelson, and so, he had a pretty good idea. I think Holgorsen is going to use tight ends less often, and so you need to decide what you want to do with Nelson.
When Nebraska entered the Big Ten, I think that, I don't think this is a general consensus, but if you're going to win in the Big Ten, you need to be good on the offensive line, on the defensive line, and you needed to have a run game, right? No matter where else you had, you kind of needed those three things if you were going to find success in the Big Ten. Now, in 2025, how has that changed, in your opinion?
It's changed a little bit, but I still think that doing those things are really important. I don't think that Ohio State's gotten worse on the lines of scrimmage. I think Oregon won the line of scrimmage battle against Penn State. I think Indiana's good on the lines of scrimmage. They seem like an awfully physical team to me. So I think a lot of the things that you're still wanting to do are still in play. I think at this moment in time, the Big Ten's offenses are a little bit more capable than they've been. One. Two, a lot of the guys that had stayed longer through the COVID and the extra years were defensive players. So quarterbacks leave. Quarterbacks are rare, not all of them, but if a quarterback's going to go in the first round or the second round, they're liable to just go. And so you've seen some quarterbacks leave the Big Ten to go to the NFL. JJ McCarthy, for example. But a lot of defensive guys stay. And so a lot of those defensive guys took advantage of the COVID year and they stayed an extra year. Well, not a lot of those guys are gone. The two guys at Michigan, Ty Robinson, just a variety of players. You're now going to see the final year of that. So there are some 6th-year guys like Javen Wright or Deshaun Singleton. This is the end of it. This is the end of the COVID era. So now we're going to move into a 5-for-5 era, which is a little different thing, but it's just going to be 5 years. It's not going to be 7. It's not going to be these 6-year things with COVID and red shirts and all this other stuff. And so I think you're going to see some of these defensive guys. One of the reasons you're seeing this is I think some of the offensive players are just now better than some of the defensive guys who had stayed until they were 24. So you're seeing a course correction. We have seen this before in the Big Ten. I'm going to write about this later this week. There have been years in the Big Ten where offenses thrive. 2010, 2011, 2012 were some of those years. Big Ten offenses were really good in the early 2000s and kind of dominated some of the defenses. But I think we're getting back into that cycle again, where I just think we're going to see the Big Ten offenses get a little bit better from a passing perspective, which will challenge the defenses more.
So on that line, you watch the quarterback play is better. There's really good wide receivers in this league. And it seems not only the Big Ten, but Sam, across college football, watching a lot this weekend at different levels, the tackling is not very good. And it's more tackling in key situations, chance to make a play in space. That was a problem for Nebraska when they had key opportunities to make a tackle. They didn't make a tackle. Michigan problem, or is this something to monitor moving forward with Nebraska's tackling?
I think it's something to monitor for sure. There's multiple components to tackling. So one of them is experience, like having done it a lot and doing it. One of them is physicality and what you might call violence, right? So the ability to go and have the gumption and the willingness to play physical, to play with what I would call a leading edge, which means that you're running through tackles. You're not breaking down as much, but you're running through it. Some of it's sheer athleticism. Okay, so sometimes when you see missed tackles, and this isn't the case on the Sierra right now. That was a goofy play where Samaj Morgan lands on the leg of a guy, and that was a goofy play. The one where Sierra misses the tackle against Michigan. That doesn't count. But sometimes some of this is your guys just aren't as fast as they thought they were, and the guys they're facing are better. Now, the one example I come up with, and this is from a long time ago, 2013 UCLA. Nebraska gets up early, and then UCLA starts coming back. And really what happened is Nebraska goes man-to-man in coverage, and they start bringing pressure on Hundley. And Nebraska can't cover and tackle UCLA's guys. Just couldn't do it. They weren't good enough in space, and UCLA made a bunch of plays in that game. And the game got lopsided, but the reality was there was a mismatch there. And the year before, Nebraska goes out to UCLA. Remember all the missed tackles, and that was a big story the next week. And reality is UCLA just had better athletes than Nebraska. That was the biggest issue on those two games. And they don't anymore, but they did back then. And so sometimes what you see is, well, you know what? Nebraska's just got to get a little more sudden and a little faster. I think Rex Guthrie is a more sudden and more athletic player than maybe any of Nebraska's safeties. Any of them. Although Deshaun Singleton covers a lot of ground because he's 6'4" and he's got a long stride and he can run really well in the box. But he may be more athletic than any of Nebraska's safeties out there. And so one of the reasons I think Rex needs to play is because he's a smart kid and he's physical and violent, but he is athletic. And I think that's some of it, is that you got to keep getting guys onto the field that just change the conversation athletically. And you can watch, and I didn't point this out in my column on Monday, but like you can watch the way that Ohio State and Oregon and, some other teams run. And their running is just a little bit better than Nebraska's run. Nebraska's schematics, I think, are really solid. They have a good coordinator, but I think they need to get better and more sudden. Williams Nwaneri is sudden. Shavers is sudden. Guthrie is sudden. There's a couple of other guys that are like that, but you just need more athleticism and speed on that side of the ball. And I think they're working on it. I think they have it. They just need to develop it into people who they feel like can play down in, down out.
Look, we're in Big Ten play, so obviously every game at this point is a must-win game. But would you say that because this Michigan State game is the first in a chunk of very winnable games in the month of October, and it leads you into what will be an important but challenging November, would you say that this one is probably the most must-win of them all, or do they kind of all have the same value at this point to you?
Kind of depends on what you view Nebraska's goals as. If you view Nebraska's goals as like going to the college football playoffs, then they're all equally important. They can't afford to lose now. So they have to win out.
Sure.
Or very close to it. Maybe they can lose to at Penn State by 3, or they can lose to USC by 3 and then win at Penn State and make the playoffs. But like, that's the goal now. Like you have to just say, okay, well, you're already one Big Ten game down. So if you want to make the Big Ten title game, you have to win out. Now, this is where we get into the discussion of like, why would you say that they need? Like, I get it. I think most fans would be more than satisfied with 9-3, and to go 9-3. Well, yeah, this is a huge win. This would be a very important milestone on the way to 9 wins. So it kind of depends on the way you want to look at it, and I think some Nebraska fans are in the, hey, no, it's time to go to the CFP. It's not. You got the quarterback. He isn't going to be here forever. This isn't the NFL, so you don't get 10 years of Josh Allen or Dylan Raiola. You don't get 10 years. You get 3 at most, at least, and maybe 4. So the window isn't like huge here. And so I think there's a thought process of like, among some fans, especially boosters, of like, no, let's just go ahead and do it now. And if that's the case, then every game is equally important and every game is a must win. And I think everybody down there treats it like that. I think everybody understands the schedule they have in place, the way that it's spaced out, the challenges that are going to come with going to Maryland and then going to Minnesota in that compressed time frame. However, it's not what Indiana did. So Indiana had to play Illinois, then they had to go to Iowa, then they got a bye week, then they got to go out to Oregon. Like, Oregon's got to go to Penn State, and then, then they got to play Indiana. Like, everybody's real clear about Nebraska not having that challenge in front of them. So this is a big game because I think this might be the most talented offense they'll face until they play USC. So it's an important game for Nebraska's defense for sure.
It should be interesting on Saturday. Can't wait. Sam, as always, appreciate it. Have a great week.
Hey, take care.
Sam McEwen. Does anybody at Michigan State say this is our statement game? Got beat by USC, had a bye week. Now we're playing at a normal time.
No.
Okay.
I don't think so. I don't. It's so weird. We live in a world where it's like social media dictates like how big of a fan base that you have, and it's like if you can find the fan base on Twitter and if they go crazy on Twitter, then you kind of relate it to, oh, okay, like they have passionate fans, right? At least in some aspects.
Mm-hmm.
I've never really fallen into Michigan State Twitter or have seen them freaking out or anything like that.
2015.
Well, I'm sure in 2015 when they were awesome, when they were like beating the best teams in the Big Ten and in the college football playoff, they were all over the place. But now when they got, what they went through with Mel Tucker and they got this guy from Oregon State, I don't know if they're fully on the Smith bandwagon yet, even though they should be. I think he's a damn good coach.
Yeah.
And they got a pro style quarterback.
And a quarterback, the design runs could be a little bit.
Yeah. They have a quarterback that's very much in between Sorsby and Underwood in terms of his ability to run. I would not say
better passer.
Much better passer than Underwood.
68%, 69%.
I think he's at 70%, if I'm not mistaken. But regardless, what I mean is I don't think he can hit his head on the goalpost like Bryce Underwood can, but I do think he's more capable than he's better. He's a better quarterback than Sorsby.
I think he's better than Bryce Underwood right now.
I would say that too. Yeah. I think overall, yeah. But you made a great point when before we even got to the Michigan game that Underwood's ability to just have the ball anywhere on the field and just be worth 6 makes him so much more dangerous than I think his passing statistics and really anything else can
playground
exemplify.
Football.
It really is. So I think bare bones, Aiden Childs is a better quarterback, but Underwood is just so electric with the fact that no, whenever he has the ball, it could be worth points.
Next 3 weeks will be 3 very dynamic quarterbacks: Childs, Washington, and then Drake Lindsay.
Yeah. I was going to say, not the next 4.
Well, I mean, never know.
He sucks.
Okay.
He's terrible. Okay.
I was going to say, what do you think about Preston still?
I think he's absolutely atrocious, and somehow he's making me miss Peyton Ramsey, which I didn't think was a sentence I would really say in my life, which Peyton Ramsey, fine quarterback, but not to the point where I'd miss him.
All right. Nebraska, by the way, 69, 62, 67, 105. That's the 4 games in the passing yards they've allowed. Will Aiden Childs eclipse the total for the first 4 games that Nebraska's allowed?
Can you say what's the total for the first 4 games?
172 to 30, very bad, 300.
No.
300 plus.
No.
Okay.
He'll eclipse 150.
That would seem really low. Michigan State has no chance if he is at 150.
No, I know. I'm not saying he's going to be at 150. He'll go past 150.
Okay. All right. Sarah Baker Hansen will join us next. Still to come, Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi on 1620 The Zone. All right, welcome back in. See if we can get SBH here. Dolphins uniforms last night, yay or nay?
Nay, terrible.
What are they? The dark water is what they call them.
I thought they were disgusting.
I want to like them, but I'm kind of with Matt here.
Do you like the whole they customize the helmets now too?
See,
if you're going to go in,
I
go
love
on.
the old school Dolphin helmet and the aqua.
Yeah.
Yes.
I didn't mind last night.
Really?
Yeah, I'm wondering what the recruits thought about the Dolphins uniforms they were wearing
I
last
need to
night.
recruit some receivers now.
Why? How dare they wear that uniform against such a historical franchise like the New York Jets? Wasn't it a helmet game yesterday? Do they not know tradition?
They wore helmets.
Well, what'd you think of the Broncos? So the Broncos,
that was gross.
The Broncos
Whoa.
helmets.
Give me the Dolphins ones over whatever Denver was wearing.
I mean, if I'm being honest with you guys, I hate the helmets. I just hate the customization of the helmets. I've always just kind of liked how it was. You only ever wore one helmet.
Mm-hmm.
And if anything, I think it made teams more creative in terms of how they made alternate uniforms because you had to make it around the helmet, right? You had to be a little different in how you did things. Now that you can customize the helmet, we got teams wearing helmets that look like, it's leather patches.
Look like high school. Actually, Miami looked like the Memphis Showboats of the Canadian Football League back in the day. That's not good.
Also, too, Miami has great jerseys.
Yeah.
They just have really, I don't know why you would change out of all the teams that could, I get Houston, right, mixing it up a little bit because I don't like their jersey. I get Jacksonville mixing it up a little bit. Seattle, I understand why they go through it. Miami, you're good, man. You're sitting
Wear
pretty.
those retros. Oh,
You got the aqua, you got the white, you got the orange, the sexy stripe down the pant. It's a good. I don't know if it ain't broke, don't fix it.
But I did like the uniform last night for the Dolphins. People take advantage of Monday night to bring out their alternate uniforms.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah, but to be fair, I'm not really going to watch that much Miami Dolphins football from here on out. So it's just I'm not going to be. I would prefer to see them.
Tua, who is very blessed, would love you to watch more Miami Dolphin football.
I don't think I'll be required. We are getting to the point where it's we know the 24 teams that we probably need to watch this season to just be cognizant of. I'd say we're down to 24 or maybe 26 of hey, these are kind of the chunk of these guys matter. They're about 6 teams, or I don't need to watch the Saints play another football game.
Bad?
I do not need to see the Tennessee Titans.
Oh, no. We watched the Tennessee Titans to see Brian Callahan with the media. He had a little terse exchange yesterday.
What happened? What happened there?
The media are onto him and his 3-18 record.
Yeah, I mean
they'll be looking for a new coach there.
I was about to say onto
and
what?
You know
onto
what?
the fact
and
that
look
they're
at
bad.
Look at the guy that is in New England. He used to coach there. Maybe they should look at the ownership. Going into a brand new stadium with a number 1 overall pick, and they may be they're not going to be able to draft another quarterback in the with the first pick this upcoming year.
And then probably draft another tackle would probably do them. They need to have the
Titans, Jets, Saints right now are very, very poor. Watching the Jets last night, and I know a couple of Jets fans. Mike Sauter's a diehard Jets fan.
Oh, I forgot that. Yeah.
And there are times where you watch teams, and when a team fields a punt at the 2, or they have a 12-play, 82-yard drive, which takes about 8 minutes, and they drive down the field, and they're like, "Whoa, this looks really good," and then they fumble at the 3-yard line, or they just fumble. Period. They had 3 fumbles last night. Sometimes you'll look at teams and you're like, man, you know what? I feel bad for that fan base because they're loyal. And then I think with the Jets, that's one team I don't feel bad for. You know what? Fireman Ed, you know what? Go put out a fire. Get out of the stadium. All right. Stop leading the chant. Stop getting on the camera. Okay. I do feel for Sauter because Sauter is a diehard Jets fan.
Sure.
I mean, he would pine for Chad Pennington coming back.
He's consistent.
There's teams that are bad. I don't feel for them. I kind of feel for the Saints.
Whoa.
I kind of feel for the Saints. I don't feel anything for the Jets. I have no Jets.
We're used to it.
I have no Jet emotion in my body.
This might be the first time because I've revealed a couple of teams that I just hate to hate them. This might be the first time you've revealed yours that you just can't stand a team.
No, I don't.
Really
the Jets. I don't
No,
the Jets are not on my. I hate them.
They're
It's
there.
just I have nothing. I have no emotion for the Jets. If they're bad, so be it. You know what? If they're good, Okay.
Good for them.
But I have like watching them and the bad football, I don't go, oh man, those fans, I feel bad for them. No, I feel nothing for Jets fans. All right.
We should clip this and send it to Greeny.
Hey, the best thing that's ever happened to the Jets actually happened in Miami.
What is that?
The finger. The best thing that the Jets have ever done is the finger. Joe Namath running off the field with the finger in the air.
Yeah.
That is a long time ago.
And then 14 years later, they didn't cover the field for the AFC Championship.
What was that? 45. Now, I do want to say this.
So sorry, Mike, but
do you know who might be the most
Good luck.
underrated, one of the more underrated quarterbacks in the era of football is Mark Sanchez. People, wait, guys,
let me sit back and listen to this.
Hold on. Let me be properly secured, because as you're telling me this, I'm trying to remember, did Henry Cotto come in for Gary Matthews or somebody else in the game in 1984? So let me have he did. By the way, he came in for Gary Matthews. He did out in left field because Gary Woods also pinch hit in that game.
Mm-hmm.
He came in and played right field for Keith Moore. All right, I am properly secured.
Are you good? Okay.
This is about Mark Sanchez.
Lay it
Mark
on
Sanchez.
us.
He's 4-2 in his playoff career.
Yes, that is true. He almost got him to the Super Bowl.
Mm-hmm.
Nearly.
Would he have been a better quarterback than Lamar Jackson if they would have gotten to the Super Bowl?
gotten to? God, no.
One. What if they won the Super Bowl?
Would have been weird.
Okay.
If Mark Sanchez won a Super Bowl, you would have to look at that 2010, 2011 season and be like, he might have been the best quarterback in the National Football League. He beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady in one go around.
He would have his own show in New York today.
Yes,
Like, hey, Super Bowl winning
easily.
quarterback Mark
Never-
Sanchez joins us.
He would have never had to buy a drink again. All right. And he played an incredible Pittsburgh Steelers team, gave him a fight in that game, ended up losing to Big Ben, who then lost to Aaron Rodgers. But Mark Sanchez's 2011 run, and really just his run from 2009 to 2012, he was one of the better quarterbacks in the NFL. And now, yes, we remember him because of the butt fumble. We remember him because he just had an absolute fall from grace, and eventually he became a career backup.
He's okay on TV now.
But for a good 3.5 to 4 years, Mark Sanchez was a dude, okay? He was a dude. They beat Peyton Manning and Tom Brady. How many quarterbacks have done that in one playoff run? Not that
Richard
many.
Todd, maybe
Pat Ryan.
Yeah.
Oh, O'Brien. Yeah, took him to the
O'Brien.
playoffs in '91, lost to Houston. The
But
Oilers.
speaking of Mark Sanchez, very interesting career.
Good argument. Good argument.
Is it an argument?
He was elite. I mean, I'm not going to go and look up his stats right now, but I can
Mark
tell you for a
Sanchez,
fact.
elite.
I mean, he led, by the way, look who we're talking about here. We're talking about the New York Jets. All right. The New York Jets is a terrible franchise. They don't know their ass from their elbow. Okay. They make so many bad drafting decisions. They consistently go ahead and sign these old free agents and act as if they're going to rejuvenate their franchise. They are one of the worst franchises, not only in the NFL, but in sports in general. And he took them to back-to-back playoff appearances and won multiple playoff games with that franchise.
Rex Ryan, hell of a job he did back then.
It's the same thing with Baker Mayfield. I don't think we gave Baker Mayfield nearly enough credit for winning a playoff game with the Cleveland Browns.
You know that Mark Sanchez never threw for 60% or better with the Jets?
It's fine. He beat Tom Brady and Peyton Manning in a playoff
run. But he also
Bart
he
Scott.
garnered some Heisman talk when he was at USC. I'm a Heisman voter. I think the Heisman right now, and I know it's the end of September and there's a lot of ball to be played, y'all, is kind of meh.
Right now?
Yeah.
Why are you mad about it?
I know Dante Moore, because I looked at the odds yesterday. So it's Dante Moore, it's John Mateer, it's Pavia.
Mateer still
Mendoza.
Mateer still has high odds.
Yes.
Wow.
Chambliss at Ole Miss, Ty Simpson. So it's kind of like, okay. That's why I'm all on the Caleb Downs bandwagon.
Because
defensive guy. If somebody from defense is going to win it this year, this might be a prime, because there's nobody running away with it. There's nobody that you go, oh my gosh. Now Dante Moore looked good, but it's not like, oh, here we go. So I'm now starting the campaign for Caleb Downs at Ohio State. He's not only the best defensive player in college football, game changer, But why can't he be mentioned for the Heisman where I don't go, oh, all this Heisman stuff is kind of like, a safety
yeah.
could win the Heisman. And then to bring it all back in, this is going to make, the further we get away from Michigan, that's why 3:00 needs to get here on Saturday. The more I'm like, that was such a missed opportunity.
Sure.
The guy that's quarterbacking in Lincoln, okay? Numbers are pretty good. Odds are, he doesn't really show up on any odds boards.
He's got to win.
Yeah. If we could have spent the last week, and this isn't Dylan's fault, it's his teammates' fault. We could have spent the last week, and Dylan would be discussed until Dante Moore won at Oregon as one of the top 3 Heisman guys.
Easily.
Because he has a win, he has a moment. And now we got to go another month before he gets the chance to get a victory because there are no wins on the ledger over ranked teams. I can just feel it. People want to put him in that, but they can't because he doesn't have that win. Okay, he doesn't have that win, but he has the numbers.
Sure.
And he has the name.
Yeah.
But he doesn't have the win. So now we got to wait a whole nother month. But if they would have beaten Michigan, that's what all last week would have been about. It would have been about Nebraska now has end of September Heisman guy. But right now it's Dante Moore. And I'm not going to argue with that.
I think Fernando Mendoza can end up becoming a really big name, and that could become a really
could
good
be
story.
an elimination on in 2 weeks in Eugene.
So that was what I think is holding people back. Like they just don't think Indiana is going to end up winning that game, and so that's why I think his odds are lower. You alluded to an interesting point. So this whole Heisman Trophy campaign being meh really just boils down to none of your superstar favorites to begin the year are even in contention. Arch Manning is not in contention. Nussmeier's not in contention. Klubnik's not in contention. And so you don't really have an established superstar.
And it's a new 5 every week. Mateer is really the only guy that has stayed in the top 5 if you want to do like the combo of rankings.
Yeah, but he's now hurt, which is the problem.
Yeah.
And
so you're not going to see him until maybe next week?
That would be, his prognosis.
Oh, you
was
have to
4
have
weeks.
You have to have him. Well, Venable said yesterday that he is
progressing,
like moving forward. You can't have that game played and there's no Arch against Mateer.
If he has to force it, he'll force it. But the point being here, Gary, is that the guys who were your top dudes, even Jeremiah Smith and Jeremiah Love, who had some superstar pedigree to them, have not performed to where they should be high up on that list. So it hasn't become a superstar watch, and instead it just has become an award. Where Dylan, I think out of all of those guys, would be the only one that would garner that type of attention because of not just his father was a longtime NFL veteran and a Hall of Famer for Nebraska football, but the whole Minnie Mahomes thing too. How big would it be for ESPN and Fox and all of them, for this guy that they've made these weird jokes about the whole Minnie Mahomes and, Patrick Mapartments and whatnot, that he actually ends up being a dude and is like the Heisman Trophy favorite? That would get so much run.
That would be so much fun.
You would enjoy it. It would be fun. You saw how much joy I had all year when I would turn to the left and they would be talking about Caleb Williams on First Take every other day. You wouldn't like that with Dylan?
No, because national people can't have a normal conversation about Dylan.
That is true.
Eric writes in, I agree with this, and he's like 6th or 7th and probably should get a little bit more run, and they're unbeaten and they stayed alive against Wake Forest, Haynes King. But the problem is with Haynes King, they don't play a ranked team until Georgia. Now, there's a great opportunity in Atlanta on Thanksgiving weekend. If you win that game, because then Georgia Tech probably goes, by then they will have already fast forwarded to their playing in Charlotte for the ACC championship. And in the playoff discussion, if you win against Georgia, then you're like, okay, here's a seat, here's a trip to New York City. It's just, there's been such a revolving door. That's why I think this might be an opportunity for Caleb Downs. But the whole Heisman discussion, thank you, Deion Sanders. We used to not really talk much about the Heisman in September.
Sure.
We'd be aware of it, but we wouldn't talk about it like we do now.
Yeah.
And it seems like it gets brought up in the last 2 or 3 years more often in early season, where you pause and go, it's a poll in September about the Heisman Trophy. So good on Dion. He's at least had one contribution of late to college football, other than his 15-15 record.
Do you think that NIL has boosted the notoriety of the Heisman in a way because it's such a brand builder? More so, I mean, you now can turn that into dollars, right? So like in the past, if you were a player and you won the Heisman, let's say you were a sophomore, right? Like they're not paying you to be on the Heisman house. You're not making millions of dollars to be in that Nissan commercial. Now, when you do win that award, there is a lot of financial benefit that comes with it and building a brand and notoriety that actually turns into dollars that maybe wasn't there before.
I don't know yet because we haven't had every guy that's won the Heisman.
Yeah.
They haven't come back to of late in the NIL era.
Yeah.
They're not coming back to school.
That's true.
I mean,
that's
Travis Hunter wasn't coming back. He was going to the pros.
But yeah,
Daniels wasn't coming back to LSU. He was going to the pros. Caleb wasn't coming back.
He was going to the pros. That's a good point. And he won it and he did come back to USC, but I don't think that this was a talking point. I'm just throwing it out there.
I will start with Hunter.
Yeah.
Because I think that's the full NIL. Maybe Daniels. Leave Caleb Williams out of it.
Yeah.
So the last 2 years, those guys weren't coming back to college no matter what.
Yeah. But
it didn't Hunter didn't get paid more because he won the Heisman. He got drafted where he was drafted because he was a really good player and would be a good fit in the NFL.
But do you think though, I guess more of my
if somebody as an underclassman wins it,
yeah,
I think you're right.
Yeah.
I think you're right and you could see it.
But I think more of my point might be more pointed toward just the fact that we are in such a brand building attention era and every single player at all times always has, at least top players always have in the back of their mind, how can I get on TV? How can I get talked about? How can I get notoriety? How can I get, just more money in general? Where I think that might have, and also to the popularity of the sport just rising has made us talk about their top award more too. But I do think that just this era of football where all these players are so much more tuned in terms of what people think about them and what people are saying about them could potentially have turned up the heat in terms of the importance and how much we talk about that award.
Yeah, it'd be interesting if we get another Caleb Williams that as somebody who still has college eligibility, who can't go to the pros, comes back, what that does.
Did you see that Heisman House commercial recently where they got pulled over?
You got Heisman House and Fansville have done a crossover.
That's incredible with Nissan and Dr. Pepper. Yeah. But why was when Baker got out of the car?
Yeah.
And he said here we go again. Was that supposed to be
his incident in Norman?
Okay. That was supposed to be a reference to that?
Yeah.
Okay. That's kind of cool. I didn't know that him running away from the cops and being tackled onto a stone step was now in bounds to joke about now.
It was also kind of interesting that you not only had the Sooner mascot driving, Baker Mayfield, but a cowboy in the back.
That's a good point, too.
So I thought Barry Sanders might, because of Bosworth, he would get a little profile there as a cowpoke and not a Sooner. But they kind of quietly did the crossover of Fansville and Heisman. Does that mean that we're done with the Fansville? We've reached the end?
No, it hasn't.
Fansville is now doing Jerry Jones.
Whoa.
You got really defensive there.
Well,
we're running out of storylines for Fansville.
Did you not hear his tone?
Larry Culpepper, please come back. Save Fansville.
His tone is saying as if he's done with Fansville, as if you're not a fan of the commercial anymore.
We've run out of storylines. We went to Sunday
Protown.
Yeah, we went to Protown.
I think they got plenty left in the tank.
I think we're about done.
Going. I think they got more.
We've done the NIL. We've done the portal.
Yeah.
Now we got Sheriff Bosworth is pulling over Heisman Trophy winners. We've jumped the shark. It's like Happy Days.
Yes, I remember that. Richie left.
Wasn't that a great line though? When they go, "We don't have you on the conference schedule anymore," and then they hop in the bus. That was great. It's great. They can keep going. They can find
like
new
State
things.
Farm. It never.
Hey, what happens?
The only thing that can save Fansville is Larry Culpepper coming back.
You watch it. Diego Pavia next year will be in a Fansville commercial.
Oh, I can't wait.
He will be. I guarantee you he will be. What if Diego Pavia? That would be your Heisman story there. If Diego Pavia ended up winning,
That'd be the
Heisman
worst thing
Trophy.
that happened to America.
I don't.
I mean, there are a few other
America
things, but
is
I'll
pushing
listen.
it. Worst thing that happened to college football probably would be the 18th year quarterback from Vanderbilt.
Yeah,
No,
winning
it's
the Heisman.
realignment.
Some people get on with life. You know what? People do not need to play 7 years of college football. Okay.
Has Stetson Bennett yet started at State Farm? What's he doing?
Soon.
Soon?
Then you'll have the picture
Uh,
where they all
still
sit on the
playing
beach.
quarterback in the
khakis
NFL.
and-
Yeah, Stetson Bennett is still on an NFL
Good
roster,
for
correct?
Stetson Bennett.
Hold
Pays
on.
well.
Yeah, he is still with the Rams.
Good for Stetson.
Yeah, learn football from Sean McVay.
Watch
Sign
him
me
end
up.
up being like a Mike Wolf or like a Mike White.
Or Chase Daniel, who had
Or-
a great backup career and has parlayed that.
But
I'm
Chase
not even
Dan-
making fun. He did a good job.
You definitely do. Chase
you needed
Daniel
him, he came through.
is the because no one ever thought Chase Daniel was going to be like a longtime NFL starter. Jake Fromm was like that too.
All right. When we come back, Wayne Messmer is going to join the show.
Really?
Yeah.
I know he's on. It would have gotten me really excited.
All right. Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi still to come. 1620 The Zone. All right, noon baseball today. The Tigers and the Guardians. We'll see if the Tigers making the postseason. They're rejuvenated. Cleveland's won that division 3 of the last 4 years. Skubal pitches today. I just can't see him losing 3 straight to Cleveland. I like Cleveland in 3. Gavin Williams Skubal today. And then the Cubs and the Padres at 2:08 at Wrigley Field. Matthew Boyd and Nick Pivetta.
What a signing from the Padres with Nick Pivetta, by the way. Wasn't he like the last real free agency acquisition this year? I feel like he was one of the final guys to finally be signed for Boston over to San Diego. And now he's got a sub-3 ERA and is probably going to rip the hearts out of the Chicago Cubs.
Matthew Boyd can keep the ball in the ballpark if Tatis doesn't go crazy like he does in the postseason. But the Cubs got to score first, and they got to stay out of the Padre bullpen. But Pivetta, Cease, and Darvish is a nice 3 for the Padres to roll out there. Against Boyd, Show, and Ray.
Yeah, it's gonna have to be.
Yeah.
Or you just hope you win the first few games, and then you can get a little bit of rest, and then you head into the DS and Cade Horton, game 4.
All right, speaking of the Cubs, here is Random Mike. Mike, let me ask you something, all right? You ready?
You've got every right to.
Well, I don't think that's that's the right one. Okay, October 2nd, 1984, where were you? 1:26 in the afternoon, the Cubs and the Padres get set for game 1 of the NLCS at Wrigley Field. Where were you? What were you wearing? What were you doing?
That I don't remember, but it is be a nice payback to get back at those Padres.
Yeah, because we got screwed out of Jack Murphy. I don't ever want to see Steve Garvey again. If I ever run into Steve Garvey in public, I'm going to give him some speaks. Okay? All right? 40 years later.
He hurt us real bad. But hey, this is from Maddie, too. Last time I talked to Maddie, I call him Maddie. Like we were good buddies. But last time I talked to him, he was doing the Sunday show. Scott Frost had fired how many assistants?
How many assistants got fired?
By Scott Frost. Remember, he got rid of a bunch of his assistants?
Yes. Yeah,
one of which was the offensive.
Yeah.
Go ahead.
Well, one of them is his team at Kearney is 4-1. Ryan Held was his running back coach.
Yeah. He also fired his offensive line coach.
Yep, Greg Austin.
And I said to Virgil, I'd really like you to be our next offensive line coach. And you know what he told me?
Yeah, I think I know, but yes.
He said, I don't recruit. I've never recruited. And I said, you'd do real good at it. Trust me. But he worked with Teddy Prohaska, right?
Yes, he did.
So where does Prohaska stand right now? Is he still the starter?
He'll get to play some tackle on Saturday.
But he was starting, right?
He was starting. He started the first 4 games. I think you'll see Pritchett at left and Gatula at right, and Teddy maybe play a little of both, and maybe even some connect.
What I love is he was a Husker man and a Cubs fan.
Yep.
You both of you guys are.
Yep.
I am. It can all happen. It can all happen this year. This could be a fall. Remember,
come on, Gary. Come on.
I just think there's too many. The starting pitching really worries me. Now the bullpen, the bullpen is better than I think they get credit for, and the offense defensively they're going to play really well. Mm-hmm. They do have stretches where they just disappear. I just worry about the starting pitching, like going a long way, even if Cade Horton is able to come back.
But you know what? They don't have to go a long way.
Well, you're going to have the short series. Anything can happen.
We get 4 good innings out of most of these guys. There's enough there. The defense. Is this the best defensive team the Cubs?
Yeah, this is that does bode well in the postseason, and they don't strike out a ton, and they walk more than recent Cub teams.
Okay, here's the thing about striking out.
Yeah,
I saw one of the stats was they're like one of 2 or 3 teams in history with 3 guys. Kind of hard to believe that this is a record, but 3 guys have over 20 home runs and 20 stolen bases. This has almost never happened before.
I know.
But here's the thing: 2 of those guys strike out a lot. You know what I'm talking about?
Well, they're 2 important bats. PCA strikes out way too much. for a guy that's a 30-30 guy. That could have been a 40-40
and the guy that's shocking is Swanson. I mean, this guy should not strike out nearly as many times as he does. But
yeah.
No, Gary, look at the numbers. I mean, the strikeouts is off the charts.
Well, when he strikes out, they come in bunches.
But they're great base stealers, and King Tuck is the other guy with 20. All these guys, if they have good series and get on base, the strikeouts are huge. I mean, and you don't strike out, you get on base. It's kind of like a double because they're great base stealers. Yeah, there's a lot of questions. But can the Huskers football team win the national championship?
Whoa.
It can happen.
What?
This
year?
Can happen. But
this year?
This year. There are a lot of
Mike,
questions.
No
Don't get me
way.
wrong.
Mike.
No way.
Hey, hear me out.
Okay, I'll
Do
listen.
you still like our coordinators? You still like them?
Yes, I'm giving John Butler. I'm waiting to see more because they will.
Right, exactly.
Yeah, they're running different defense nowadays.
And with Dana, I'm waiting to see more.
Okay.
I mean, can Dana be happy with the zero rushing yards when you got the 95 team right there? Can you imagine how they feel about that?
Yeah, I'm more concerned. What do I feel about the 25 team that can't run the ball when we want to run the ball? But I get you what you're saying.
Yeah, that's big. And Carter Nelson, where does he stand now? Is he kind of healthy? What's the deal?
This is a big month. This is a big month for him. We got to figure out what you have with Carter Nelson.
Because there's a lot there, but we haven't seen it.
But is there a lot there? Have we seen the best of Carter Nelson?
We haven't seen anything.
Well, that's what I'm saying.
And Rule said the other day that he mentioned him. He said he's got all the ability in the world.
Yeah,
we got to see more.
Sam brought up last hour, Mike. Sam brought up like it almost seems like they don't know how to use him because he's a tweener. Wide receiver tight end. They make his body tight end. I'd love to see him more because I don't know what they have. And I'm afraid that his best that he has shown in his limited time, that's what he is. I don't want to believe that. Nebraska can't afford that to happen. But it's just, I think this is a big month for him to get him more involved and figure out where he's at. Because you need, listen, at the end of the day, Bonner out for the year is a huge loss in so many ways.
It is. I totally agree. Totally agree.
I don't think they'll be able to figure out the physicality and replace that. But the playing tight end, they can. And is that Carter Nelson or is that spread amongst Lindenmeyer and Harvard? So that's why I think it's a big month for it's a big month of October for Nelson because I'd like to see him on the field more. And let's figure out where he is because, what happens next year? What role does he look at next year?
You're exactly right. And it's big on how these coordinators react. If they're as good as we thought they were, they're going to be so upset about last week because it came in spite of everything. As you know, it was very winnable.
Mm-hmm.
And here's the thing. And Dylan, he's going to so much trouble to get in better shape. And we didn't see it where if he runs more, if he handles all the pressure that was there physically and mentally. For example, one of the sacks, there was a guy wide open, and if Dylan avoids it, which he could have, that could have been a game-changing play. You see what I'm saying? His athletic ability, he's got to be able to run more and handle it in certain situations. And Butler, we got to see more. But I have a lot of faith in him, and we know Eckler can do great things with the kicking game. I thought Emmett Johnson, he took a vicious hit in the first half. I think he got hurt, or he still played because he's the kind of guy that will. And that was part of the problem in the second half. Do you agree that he might have got hurt in that game a little bit?
He takes some hits. I don't know that he got hurt. I just think they weren't able to run the ball in the second half. He ran the ball 5 times for 10 yards. But they got to find,
particularly in the first half.
They got to find a way because he's trending right now to be mentioned amongst Marlon Lucky and Amir Abdullah in terms of touches, and we're getting into the projected 260 touch range, which is too much for him. Too much for him.
You're so right about Bonner. So the big thing is the other running backs and have some help. But I'm really interested in how the 3 coordinators reacted to that game because that was a game that could have been won.
Yeah.
And look, if we win that game, how are people talking about us now? If we win that game.
Yep. Mike, thanks for the phone call. Enjoy it today at 2:08 when Bob Dernier will be leading off. Ryan Sandberg, Gary Matthews, Keith Moreland, Ron Say.
On ABC. Actually, it's on ABC.
Jody Davis, Leon Durham. Larry Boa, and Steve Trout or Rick Sutcliffe on the mound.
It's one hell of a lineup.
Hey, game 1, 1984, Sutcliffe hit a home run.
Do you remember when
Sunny day.
Third inning, because Sutcliffe threw right-handed, hit left-handed. No, he hit left-handed. I was gonna say he was a switch hitter, but he hit left-handed.
See, my lineup I can name like that was Terrio 1, Ramirez 2, Lee 3, Bird 4, Castro 5, Balbuena 6. Remember Ryan Shearholtz? Who could forget Ryan Shearholtz?
Those are meek times.
Kosuke Fukudome.
Yeah.
Yes.
Yeah.
Oh,
All right, Nebraska may have a solution for their run game with what is coming to Memorial Stadium on Saturday.
did they find out in the meeting? Did they sit down in the meeting? They all put their heads together and found out who their second running back was?
That's why I say Rule was like, I just want to play. I know I got to be here, and I'm going to see you on Thursday again. What am I going to tell you? Okay, we're just going to go play. All right.
What, you weren't reading into him saying they have to practice more? You weren't diving deep in that?
I'll explain next segment. I got some thoughts on something he said. But the Clydesdales are coming to Memorial Stadium. They're going to parade around the East Stadium loop following the Legacy Walk. Why don't they just lead the buses in?
They
should lead the buses into the Legacy Walk.
This is you're going to get mad at me. Clydesdales.
Budweiser.
Okay, that's what I thought. All right.
Yep.
All right. I didn't know if it was the LPD was taking the horses and they were.
Oh. No, the Budweiser Clydesdales will be there. They are mammoth horses, if you've ever seen them. That's the only thing good about St. Louis Cardinal baseball opening day is the Clydesdales make the trek around the outfield.
Be great lineman.
I have a great Clydesdale shirt where it's just the guy. Yeah, it's a nice little. I got it from Target. It was a $10 T-shirt.
It says
Clydesdale says Budweiser right under.
When you do go to the Budweiser plant, Anheuser-Busch in St. Louis, if the Clydesdales are not out, like out on the road,
Sure.
there will be some that'll be there. Beautiful animals. Just incredibly stunning animals.
I still am in my.
But they could get you 5. I bet they could be more than 4.2 yards
Absolutely.
per carry.
Absolutely.
What do you mean?
Running behind those horses?
You can't tackle a Clydesdale.
No.
It's physically impossible.
Get behind their big ass and let's go.
Why isn't that ever a question?
Why don't we recruit a horse?
100 men against, what was that? What was the thing that the 100 men against
gorilla.
A gorilla?
Yeah.
Why isn't it 100 men against a Clydesdale?
I like Matt's
Well, 100
recruiting
men,
a horse.
100 men would beat a Clydesdale. But we're talking in the constraints
How
of the
many-
football field.
how many people
I mean,
would-
there's no such
how
thing
many
as
would-
3
how
yards
many-
in a cloud of dust with a Clydesdale.
How many people get stepped on by the Clydesdale?
Probably all 11 guys. I'm telling you, Nebraska should go and recruit a horse and have him be the second running back.
It's a great idea. One of your finest, actually.
Thank you.
That actually might be your best take in 9 months.
Uh-huh.
That is.
But you need some
Can you
more horses
share that?
blocking.
Can you share that for Thursday? Go down and tell Rule.
You know what?
I got a solution, Coach, for your problem.
You're listening to Take 5, quick 5-minute pod.
Stay with me, Coach.
All right.
Please.
I'm telling you right, Nebraska needs to recruit a horse. I'm looking at Forte. He's a Bob Baffert trained stallion out of Florida. He's a 3.5 star. Picked up a win in the Bluegrass. Matt Rule needs to get on the phone right now.
I'll buy you lunch if you go ask him that.
You ever thought of recruiting an animal, Matt?
You got to be specific.
Maybe say that for a bye week.
How good would that be? Matt, if you could pick an animal to play a position on your football team, what would it be and why? And do you know what he would say? Like he always says to me? Wow, that's a great question.
He would think about it.
Save it for the bye week.
It already happened. We were supposed to take a field trip together, and we didn't do it. And it was all my fault because my car was too messy.
Okay. Something you brought up about practicing. I had a thought when the Just Get Me to Saturday coach spoke yesterday.
Okay.
We'll do that next on 1620 The Zone.
Hey, the Athletes Unlimited Pro Volleyball Championship is coming to Omaha from October 3rd to the 13th at the Liberty First Credit Union Arena. 1620 The Zone is your chance to get into the games 9 and 10, the 9th and 10 games on October 12th for free. Go to 1620thezone.com right now to get registered for an opportunity to win 4 tickets.
You guys see last week, the Nebraska-Creighton and Nebraska-Arizona matches, over 300,000 viewers.
That's incredible.
People love Nebraska volleyball. They're still number one. They got Penn State this weekend. We have Brian Christopherson and Andy Kendi in the next hour. Welcome back into Gary and Matt. So there is the wild stat out there that was referenced yesterday that Nebraska has the second best passing offense in America. They have the number one passing defense in America.
That's incredible.
You think there's any coincidence there? Good quarterback, good wide receivers, good DBs, good on good, iron sharpen iron.
I like that connection from you.
Mm-hmm.
I also think, though, that they've just recruited the best in those positions. Mm-hmm. Like quarterback and wide receiver, I think by far have been their strongest positions when it comes to recruiting. And even the secondary, like, he left, but I think Evan Cooper was a damn good coach, right? And I think that he did some really good work with those guys specifically. And then on top of that, I think it's less of a coincidence that your secondaries coach last year is your defensive coordinator this year. I think that Butler being in that position, like I think the secondary, you can make the argument, has probably gotten the best coaching from a position group standpoint in terms of the pedigree of, who they were being taught by. But I definitely do think, too, there is an iron sharpen iron aspect in that as well.
Because I'll give you the other side of the coin.
Yeah.
Nebraska isn't very good at running the ball.
No.
They're outside of one guy. I mean, Emmett. But Emmett can't, run for 180 yards a game.
No.
And they aren't good at stopping the run. So iron sharpens iron on one end. If you're going against, because they lined it up and they played some 1v1.
Oh, yeah.
If you're not great at running the football with a running back that's going to pound you and run away from you, and you got a defensive line that is still learning its way. So you've got two poor units that are practicing against each other. Instead of Dylan makes the DBs better, the wide receivers are made better by the DBs and vice versa.
But I think it's less so to do with Emmett. Like, because Emmett has played enough Big Ten football now where he's gotten his experiences playing against higher level defensive lines, and that experiences have improved him. I think it's actually I would be more concerned with like Mosey and Mekhi Nelson. And like those are guys that have to get better in practice, that have to develop in practice, that don't have that in-game experience.
Let's just say as a unit. Yes, all correct.
As a unit. I think they're definitely suffering. I think they're iron sharpens iron, I think, is the hallmark of great football teams. When you're able to just every single day. I mean, what do Georgia, and I know it's kind of a coach's cliche, but all the top teams, when their players get to the podium, what do they say? Well, our practice makes Saturday easy.
Yeah.
Right?
You got a quarterback and a group of wide receivers and a tight end that make guys that cover passes a lot better. Now, I think we also have to step back and look at a couple of games in the middle. I mean, I think all the stats need to be focused on Cincinnati and Michigan.
Yeah.
And if that's the case, I mean, here, I'll just give you Sorsby.
Okay.
So that Cincinnati is now Nebraska's adopted team. Like everybody's rooting for Cincinnati to go on a run.
I laugh at it, but you're not wrong.
So Sorsby against Nebraska threw for 69 yards.
Okay.
Thank God they confused him and he underthrew the pass at the end. But he was not very good throwing the football.
No, not at all.
So in that game, he ran for 96 yards. Since then, he has thrown for 333 against Bowling Green, 253 against Northwestern State. He was 15 of 15 in that game.
Crazy.
And then Jimmy saw him in person against KU. He threw for 388.
Oh, he just threw into another wide open receiver. How about
you know that
that
he hasn't thrown an interception since Hartzog's interception.
Really?
Yeah. But here's his rushing numbers.
That's incredible.
Ran for 96 against Nebraska. Since then, 40, 39, 52. Now, he ran 13 times versus Nebraska, 9 in the next 2 games. Then he ran 13 against KU. So do what you will with those numbers of Sorsby.
Lots of bad words were yelled.
Against Nebraska. But I think having a good, really, really good quarterback, better wide receivers that make you work at the line of scrimmage, a tight end, if you're going 1-versus-1, that it's going to make the guys on the other side, because they're going to have to pay attention to their craft and get better. And so each side. But if you if you don't have a team that runs downhill and physical, what do guys in practice? Because also there's one other thing is nobody on that roster can run a scout of Barham. Okay, there is nobody.
No.
There is nobody on the not even the varsity, the starting that can't run that.
No.
So those guys on the ends never saw that kind of a look.
That's a great. I didn't think of it.
And
that
then
way.
on the other side,
Yeah.
Nebraska doesn't have that physical hammer that in practice. And again, you're not doing a ton of tackling, but you're still there's contact that is running right at you. That you get used to that.
To your point, flip it the other way. When the secondary for Nebraska went up against the wide receivers of Michigan, you could definitely make the argument that they have faced way better wide receivers, more talented wide receivers, more experienced wide receivers than Samaj Morgan and the guys that Underwood is trying to
Michigan's
face
wide
against.
receivers were running routes that are not on the route tree.
Yeah. Like so I think that but also too, you are right. You are totally right. But I also think as well, though, I don't think it's a coincidence when you look at how Nebraska has recruited since Matt Rule has been here, that if you were to point to the two weakest places that they've recruited, it would be running back and it would be D-line. They've gotten some talented defensive linemen, like Cam Lenhart was a good pickup. RVP was a good pickup. I think Keona Davis was a good pickup. But, I mean, they have been able to get some blue chip prospects for quarterback, for tight end, for wide receiver, for corner. They haven't gotten blue chip
But there's
prospects.
very few times. This is very odd that there's such a range of your passing offense, passing defense is 1 and 2, and then your rushing offense and your passing offense run offense, run defense are so poor when it comes to national rankings. You usually get a mixture kind of in the middle. Some will be at the top, but the other one is not at the top as well.
Mm-hmm.
It's just you don't get Nebraska's stats across the board are really, really odd if you dig into them deep and you go, okay, this makes sense, but wait a minute, that does not make sense.
Sure.
But I think a good passing offense makes a passing defense better when you're going at each other every day. I think Dylan has probably made guys better, and let's hope that some of the guys in the back end have made Dylan a better quarterback. I don't. They run their full system when they're going 1-1. Who knows?
I don't think there's any doubt that that's the case.
All right, Brian Christopherson is coming up next on 1620 The Zone. We welcome in Brian Christopherson from Husker 24/7 on this Tuesday. Good morning.
Good morning, guys. How are you?
Good. Could I interest you in Torrey Hunter being in the dugout at Target Field next year as the manager of the Minnesota Twins?
Yeah, maybe. I don't know enough about Torrey the manager to give an informed opinion on that. I love Torrey the player, though. In fact, I named one of my dogs Torrey, which is a compliment. I spelled it with a Y, not the II, so they would know he was a male dog when I went to the vet. But yeah, I don't know. There's talk of him or like Justin Morneau.
Yeah, that was Trevor Plouffe threw that out there.
Old Plouffe threw it out, yeah.
Yeah, Torrey Hunter was in the dugout. He was dressed when the Twins were out in Anaheim. He loves the Twins organization. I have no idea what they're going to do after firing Rocco yesterday. I mean, the younger players weren't developing. They had a stretch of bad baseball.
Wasn't necessarily.
I've heard Toby Gardenhire as well, who is the AAA manager at St. Paul, who is Ron's son. And Gardy was, a legend there. I don't know what they're going to do. After working for that organization, it's just a weird time right now for the Twins. They didn't sell. They lost 92 games. People weren't going to Target Field. They need a spark. Like Torrey Hunter or Morneau would be a spark in the dugout.
2 years ago, Duran was striking out a Toronto Blue Jay, and they were winning their first series in 2 decades. Yeah. And I was on fire, pumping my fist, and now just depressing. But I am excited about the playoff baseball today. So even though my boys aren't in it, I can watch it kind of carefree and I guess enjoy the ups and downs that others have.
Yeah, we hope our good friend, because we broke down the Guardians-Tigers series yesterday, that Schaefer is okay with Cleveland today.
Man, that's a tough one for me. Two central foes. I'm kind of for the Guards. I'll go with Schaef's team in that one. I can't lie, I've kind of enjoyed Detroit's implosion.
Do you want to join our Cub fandom? Well, I'll give you an invite. As a Chicago native, I'm allowed to do that.
Yeah, I'm not down on the Cubs. It's more interesting when the Cubs, not like every year, but when they pop up like every 4 or 5 years in the playoffs, I can kind of get back into a Cubs run and take you guys. Sometimes when you had that little run from like whatever it was,
15 to 19, never forget it.
Yeah, I felt like you were kind of always around. I was like, this is getting a little old fast. But I've had enough separation from you guys. It's like when a spouse goes away for a weekend or like 4 days, and then it's like, okay, it's good to see you again, So, yeah, I'll get behind you guys.
Yeah.
That's fine.
All right, the other one is a talent gap. Dodgers against the Reds. Doesn't it seem like the Red Sox-Yankees short series is being underplayed? Like usually the people hit us over the head with the Red Sox and the Yankees. This one is kind of like, oh, they're meeting way too soon. But it's not like all the time just throwing that at us.
Oh, somebody's still going to make a documentary of it somehow, some way. Don't you worry. There'll be something on this a year from now that we'll have to digest on Netflix or 30 for 30. Yeah. So that's coming. Yeah. Don't you worry.
Yeah. All right, let's shift to Saturday, and we hope that the Cubs are still playing on Saturday. The challenges that Aiden Childs presents to Nebraska compared to an Underwood or even a Sorsby will be what?
I think he might be a little bit more polished as just what you might say a true quarterback in the pro style than Bryce Underwood was, who I think is going to be a really good player. But he was so young in his career. I think you saw it at times in the passing game that he was still a true freshman. Obviously, with Childs, you have a third-year player who he's upped his completion percentage like 9 points from last year. I mean, I know some non-con games get factored in, but they did play Boston College as one of those and scored a lot of points. They scored a lot on USC. So I think you have to respect their offense and the fact that he can get you with his feet, both on a play that breaks down and on occasional design plays. So that's something, obviously, I think they're going to test Nebraska with, given the track record against Cincinnati and Michigan. So I just think the fact that he's had another year with, Jonathan Smith and those guys have kind of come up together. They should be at that point together as a tandem where they've got a little something going. So you always got to respect that.
I'll apologize in advance for maybe the slightly long lead up here, but Nebraska played Cincinnati, and heading into the game, Cincinnati wasn't very highly touted. And Nebraska ends up winning a close game, and you don't feel great about it. You feel good, but you don't feel incredible about it. Well, now Cincinnati kicks the crap out of 3 teams and wins a pretty big game against Kansas. And now, you play Michigan, and heading into the game, you're thinking, Michigan may not be, the Michigan of old, but they're actually looked pretty damn good. And they might end up being a contender in the Big Ten. And you only lost to them by 3. And so my question is to you, Brian, based on we're really only going off of 2 games in terms of what we know about Nebraska. And if you're going off of those 2 games and you don't fully know how good your opponents may or may not be, is it safe to say that maybe we know a lot less about this football team than we actually seem to believe?
Yeah, I actually think you make a good point there. I think we have to at least be careful to overreact to what we've seen so far. That doesn't mean you can't hold to standards and expect wins when you're following the University of Nebraska. But I think Michigan's going to have a pretty good season. I think their front 7 is going to wreck shop on a decent amount of people. And it is possible that Nebraska's O-line is not the woe is me, catastrophe that some might have thought for the last week or so because they had a bad day against Michigan's front. I think there are other teams that are going to see where that O-line can look a lot better. And so that's just one example of I want to see this play out through October and see what their response is. And someone could say, well, that's a chicken crap answer to kind of avoid the fact that they're coming off a loss and all this and that. But I mean, you could go back all off season during the radio shows. October has been the month I've pointed to for a long time. I didn't know how the Michigan game would go. I knew it would probably be tight and end up 3 or 4 points one way or the other. It went Michigan's way. Obviously, Nebraska got the other end of it against Cincinnati. But this is the part of the schedule where you're absolutely right. We're going to learn a lot more. We're going to compile a lot more data about not just players, but position groups and how they work together and how they work through things when there's challenges. And this is the schedule where you're playing teams where if Nebraska is going to be upper middle in this league at least, and then work off of that platform, this has got to be that kind of month where you show you're that, where you get ahead of Michigan State and Maryland and can win those kind of games, even if they are tight games. So yeah, that's something I think after I stepped out of the bye week, it's all right, let's take a step back now. We know a few things that are worries for this team. Let's see how they address those. And if they can be a much better outfit at those certain things coming out of this. So I have an open mind about what's ahead. But I think you're within your question, you made a point and it's a good one.
What do you think we'll see on Saturday at running back?
I mean, my guess would be still a heavy dose of Emmett with Mackay would be my prediction as the second guy, with some Mosey thrown in, as sort of a jack of all trades guy who is I guess you'd call a slot back. It has seemed like it's been trending toward Mackay. I mean, obviously, if it wasn't the coach's decision to keep him out against Houston Christian, I wonder if we'd even honestly be having this conversation like we've had for the last 3 weeks, because it kind of seemed like he's the second guy on the depth chart. It seemed that way until he sat out that one game. Ives had a nice game, but it was also against a team where I think Nelson would have had a nice game, So you talk about small data size. Mackay Nelson is that. We don't know much about what he can or can't do at this point, which is reason for concern when you're going to the Big Ten and you don't know what your second back is made of. But it's also reason to not declare that they don't have anything at the position yet. Let's see what those guys can do. I thought he ran hard in his few plays that he got against Michigan, and he showed he could get some stuff done. Let's see if he can get some more done now.
Gary and I were talking earlier in the show, and Gary brought up a good point that, when you look at Nebraska, their passing offense is second in the country. Their pass defense is first in the country. You have kind of an iron sharpens iron, but there also is, they recruited really well. in those two positions, and they've coached very well in those two positions at wide receiver and at corner. Do you think now that we are kind of fully in the NFL light, everybody's got a GM, that the allocation of assets and where Nebraska spends their money and recruits will change from this season to next season?
Yeah, I mean, it could. You still got to locate those guys that not everybody sees and have some success with that, like at running back. I think that's still going to be key. But that's a valid point, too. Like, there might be some spots where they look at this season and say, all right, we might have to devote a little bit more of the money pot to this spot, and maybe you take a little off of this area, and you're kind of evaluating how that scale tips, I guess. Certainly, I would think you would have to evolve somewhat, because this is kind of new for everybody. Everybody's sort of doing this for the first time. And so some are going to nail it better than others on the first run through. You do have to be careful where you don't overextend for any one guy. And sometimes someone will extend a lot for that guy and he'll take off. And then everybody's going to be like, why didn't you go like as hard as they did after him? So you're going to have to deal with those sort of critiques. But I do think it's got to be something where you are always like self-evaluating and be like, okay, is this where do we need to shift the resources slightly to this spot, or are we fine? Maybe it's just one of those deals where you believe in what you're doing, and over the course of time, over the next few years, you'll be proven right. We'll see how they attack that.
How do they attack another Saturday and maybe another without Hartzog?
Yeah, I mean, I think that's a sneaky big loss. I know sometimes Hartzog's been occasionally games where he's been picked on, but that he's also made plays, and he's one of those guys that's always around the ball. He has a knack for turnovers more than anybody else, and so they've got to pick up that slack there. I mean, obviously, they've played pretty well in the secondary, obviously by the numbers with covering. But when Matt Rule talks about, like, and I think you'll probably hear from John Butler today, the collective 11 and that whole 11, they do need to all step up in various ways with that run defense. Like, when you go through how they've been gashed at times, everybody on every level can take some sort of blame or look at it like that's a play that could have been different if our level had been better. Like the 75-yard run Michigan had is the perfect example of that.
Sure.
So that third level, without Hartzog, I still like the group they have, because you can slide Sierra in to nickel, and obviously you've got Marshall and Donnie Jones who play with a lot of confidence. But I think even that group, as much as everybody's kind of patting them on the back for being tops in the country in pass defense, they're seeing the areas where this defense is weak and where maybe they have to bow up a little bit more too to help that. So that's going to be a test for them this weekend.
When you look at the rest of the Big Ten right now, do you think that it's no longer an option to have a good quarterback room, that it's no longer an option to have, stockpiled quarterback recruits for years and years to come? Is the new normal having to have, is the new normal it being a necessity to have at least 1 4 or 5-star kind of rolling into a program now?
Yeah, I mean, I think you definitely need at least that one top line guy, and then you probably need a guy who's younger, who's sort of like that, and then you kind of hope guys stick around, but that might not always be the case. But as long as I've been alive, one thing I think that's always been over-talked is the idea that Nebraska has always just had amazing QB depth, even in the glory years. They were fortunate, in the championship years, to have Tommy and Brooke at the same time.
Mm-hmm.
But you had to win a game on the road against a ranked team where you didn't run much offense with Matt Turman, who I love, but a walk-on guy where you had to find a way that on that given Saturday. And I think if you go through the years, you will often see that when you get to the second or third guy on any roster at the QB position, it's sort of you shrug your shoulders and you're like, I don't know how that's going to go. Sure. So I think Nebraska's Nebraska's in a better boat than most people right now. And the reason I say that is because Latif has been far better than I expected. And I know the competition. We all get that. But let's be real. There's been times we've watched Husker games or any game where there's a blowout and the backup young guy comes in against the bad team and the game just sort of settles into nothing for the last quarter. Like nothing happens. Like nobody scores. That hasn't been the case. He's been 11 of 12 and they move the ball every time he's been out there. And you got to give him his due for that. We'll see if he gets called on in a tighter spot. Kind of a God forbid situation there. You don't want an injury, but there's a good chance he's going to have to play at some point in the Big Ten. And I feel way better about him having at least a fighting shot at it than I dare would have like in July or August. He's impressed me as much of any of the young guys.
Hey, we'll get you out on this because we're a month into the season. We got a chance to watch a lot of football this past weekend, excluding UCLA. Any of the 8 remaining opponents, your opinion has changed more on after seeing them in the first month?
Not a lot. Well, actually, yes. Yes, there is one. Penn State, and I'm not counting as a bad loss to lose to Oregon. I'm just saying that Penn State, even in the first few games, I had them when I do those rankings things. Everybody does them. I had them number 1 to start the year in the Big Ten. And after the first 2 weeks, I was like, they don't look like the best team in the Big Ten, even against lesser competition yet. I mean, maybe they're going to build to that. I know the freaks they have on that defense and the stuff they can get done. But I think they've been a team so far when you've watched them that other teams in the league have at least said, hey, you don't have to go into that game and just like wave a white flag, like you normally would. If you were a middle level team and there was like a top 5 team in the country in the league. It doesn't feel that way with them right now. So I think that game's a little bit more in play for other teams in the league. That doesn't mean that I'd pick Nebraska. I think it's going to be easy, but I do think they've kind of taken a half a step back than I thought they would so far in this year. I think Maryland on defense is better than I thought they would be. And I expect that to be a tight game. So maybe they've gone up just a slight notch.
Great stuff. BC, have a great week. Enjoy the baseball, and we'll see you on Friday or on Saturday in Lincoln.
Yeah, thanks a lot, guys.
That's Brian Christopherson. I wonder if you asked that question like of other Big Ten media, and you asked them about Nebraska. Has their opinion about Nebraska changed after 4 games? What they would say?
I would
if
say
they were one of the, they were a future opponent for the team they cover.
I would say that most of them would say no. I wouldn't be surprised though if some of them said, yeah, my opinion has changed for the negative. Because I wouldn't be shocked if there was some people in the Big Ten who just macro outside looking in thought Nebraska could have beaten Michigan and could be the 4th team or the 5th team in the Big Ten. But I don't think anybody's out. I think nobody should be out on Nebraska. I don't think anybody should be like thinking they're going to win 6 games or 7 games or this is going to be a terrible season. Like, I don't think in the first 4 games there has been any sort of like not indication, but like real pedestal to stand on and say, hey, for sure, this is going to be a disappointing year.
Got 8 games to go.
I know.
Still early. Just deflating what happened against Michigan. The coordinators will speak today. Very curious on what they say.
Do you think Dana will just come out and just name a second running back?
No.
Okay.
Not after his. I don't believe so. After his head coach said, "Wait, you'll see on Saturday."
Yeah.
I don't think he doesn't really reveal that. He doesn't answered questions. The solution to running back 2 is Mekhi Nelson. Get your stuff in gear, okay? Because he was the clear number 2 out of camp, and he needs to play like the clear number 2. But maybe it'll be a combination of people. What if we saw Harburg more? I don't know that for a fact. I'm just thinking the way he kind of alluded to it, maybe something we haven't seen on a reg.
Once again, they could have an orangutan running as long as they get more than 2.5 yards per carry. from the second running back, and they don't give Emmett the ball 47 times.
That's why they call you a ball knower. You have Nebraska running with a Clydesdale and now an orangutan.
I mean, I'm just literally whatever gets the job done. Like whatever
Do you
gotta
realize
do.
a gorilla at left tackle with their height and their weight?
You can't trade for anybody. This is where I would say yes. I love your
Go
idea.
to Henry
of
Dorley
making-
and get animals.
I don't know.
See if you can get some eligibility.
What is going on?
I'm just
Why
telling
is
you
there
right
an
now, some
elephant?
of them are probably faster than guys on Nebraska's football team. So, just being honest, all we've talked about is measurables and speed and jumping and track and all this other stuff, and
They got all that at the zoo.
and they still don't pop when it comes to being fast.
I wouldn't know. I've never seen him out in the open. I've just seen him behind enclosures. So I cannot speak to that.
We can get him on a football field.
Andy Kendi still to join us before we're out of here at 10 on 1620 The Zone. All right, I like the Guardians. Remember, short series, weird things can happen. Guardians, Padres, Red Sox, Dodgers.
This is a hell of a song from Jimmy right now. I feel like I'm playing NHL 2K10.
I did not sing it.
This is
Okay, Go did it.
incredible. I haven't heard that
I
song in
recognize
years.
the song. Good recall.
It's such a good, like, man. Vancouver Canucks were
Never
killing
looked at
it
a
in that
treadmill the
game.
same
You
again.
could be one of the Sedin twins, right? We had Longo and Net. Ugh. You had Weber playing there. Alex Fisher was on that team. Those 2010 Vancouver Canucks teams.
Oh, yeah.
Talk about a bunch of just underrated men, just underrated athletes who just played the sport at such a high level. And just like, we never talk about them. We never talk about them,
Well,
except for that 130 for 30 when the entire town went up in a blaze because they
Yes.
lost.
Don't lose. That's
but
the moral of the story.
But man,
save that for your podcast.
Take 5.
Talk
Just,
about the
dive in.
2010
Hey,
Vancouver Canucks.
I'll listen.
We get 14 views when we talk about Dylan Raiola. All right, I don't think anybody would press it on YouTube if I said,
Hogwash. You get one right here.
Ever heard of Hendrik Sedin? You're gonna learn. Ever heard of Rasmus Dahlin?
Speaking of music, did you guys catch Joe Buck last night? So Joe Buck and Troy Aikman were livid about the flags and the bad football that was being played last night.
They weren't wrong.
Okay. Yes, I did hear one Joe Buck and Aikman like, oh my God, why are they throwing that?
Statler and Waldorf.
The NFL is over officiated.
Oh, without
okay.
a
And
doubt.
last night in both Miami and in Denver were the prime example. But they're doing beauty shots of Denver.
Yes.
And
Great time.
they
Yeah,
flew over
mountains.
Red Rocks in Morrison.
Yeah.
And Joe Buck's a knower, man. He raved about Red Rocks, and I'm like, yep, you've the way you talked about Red Rocks, you've had to have been to a show there.
What is
Such a
like
great place.
There's got to be like a best band to watch at Red Rocks, right?
I think any band that plays at Red
Yeah.
Rocks is a great band. Now, if you get an opportunity to see your favorite band like DMB or Church or, if you see Zach Brown Band at Red Rocks,
I bet that would be.
you see the
incredible.
Grateful Dead at Red Rocks.
Smells good.
You think the Eagles would be great at Red Rocks? I just think of Red Rocks. I think of the Eagles, not the Philadelphia.
I don't know if they would play that venue.
Yeah. Maybe
I
once
think
upon a
that
time.
would be a good venue for them to play. I think it'd be a fun one for them. The Sphere though looks incredible. When they weren't they at the Sphere?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Love to go to that. I haven't.
Red Rocks greater than the Sphere.
I'll take Red Rocks.
Outdoors?
I like outdoors. I
And-
like Colorado.
And more than likely, you're not going to get sick.
that too.
You get sick at the Sphere.
A lot of
Some
people
do.
say they get motion sickness.
Oh, well, if that's the case, then Red Rocks. Because I go to Disney World and I get motion sickness at the wazoo. I'm not a roller coaster
All
guy.
those
I don't know if
rodents.
that really surprises anybody, but I would probably do Red. But I think the Sphere is awesome. I'd love to. They got to do another sporting event in the Sphere.
Like play it in the
one did they
Sphere.
do?
They did UFC. They
Oh.
had the UFC Mexican. They always do the Mexican Independence night where they fight on Mexican Independence Day, and and they have all Mexican fighters, and they did that for I think Yair Rodriguez fought on it. It was
Was it any good?
it was so good. It was so good. It was
Like, what do
incredible.
they do? They show them up on the.
So what they did though is they turned it into
I think you'd be so far away.
before every bout, right? And not every bout, but like they would do 3 fights and then they would change the scenery. And essentially what they did is like a historical documentary of fighting in Mexico.
Oh,
And
it's like the
so
planetarium.
Over the course of like 5 hours, it was like a 45-minute
History
documentary
lesson.
of
Mhm.
history of Mexican fighting. And it was absolutely phenomenal. And
How
they'd have
about
a new backdrop for almost every single fight. It was great. And then
Yeah,
now
that
they're
would
going
be
to the
pretty
White
cool.
House.
Yes, they are. I watched 60 Minutes with Dana.
That was great.
Well,
He's a badass.
they're gonna the fighters are gonna enter the circle from the Oval
That's
Office.
crazy.
Sure, people will handle that pretty well.
Idiocracy,
Like the-
man. We're headed
Just like-
there.
hey, you know what? Just like we're handling Bad Bunny being the halftime.
Yeah, I saw
Singer.
that on Twitter. That was ridiculous. The
If you-
man's the most
Find out your
popular
name's not
artist in
sure.
the world.
His music slaps, but I get it.
You use
He said some
banger
things
slang.
about this country, and not everybody agrees with him. But here's the thing, and he will do, because of his popularity worldwide. And the whole thing about the halftime show is to get people to watch
Yeah.
the Super Bowl that don't normally watch the Super Bowl. Okay, so they may not know anything about football, but they love that artist, and so they're going to tune in for that artist, and it still all counts. He is extremely popular around the world. He's the most downloaded artist right now.
Wow. I thought he was a real bunny until a few years ago.
But okay, and you know what? And not everybody knows him. I don't expect everybody to know him. He's a Puerto Rican, but if you listen to him and then you see him, you're probably going to recognize him. I mean, he's been in movies, and he was Happy Gilmore 2's caddy.
He also dated.
It's the first.
That's how I know.
It's the first caddy that is ever sang at the Super Bowl.
Isn't he dating?
And I apologize if I don't know that if Prince was a caddy, like at Hazeltine when he was growing up.
Or Danny Noonan. Yeah. Not that Danny Noonan.
Isn't he dating Kendall Jenner?
Who is it?
Okay. That's
that I don't.
I mean, we're not.
That I don't know.
But we're all taken.
But if you're not a fan of Bad Bunny, you probably weren't gonna enjoy him being announced. But if you know of him and his great music, you're like, wow, this is such a brilliant move by the NFL. I think it's a smart move because of his international appeal. And what are you trying to do in the NFL? You're trying to get more of an international audience and at the Super Bowl to get more people to pay attention that would normally not watch the game, but they'll tune in to watch a halftime show.
Metallica's from San Francisco.
You saw now that would have. I'm a big fan of like local.
Mm-hmm.
But
we haven't gotten that.
No, if they were going to do that, they would have done it when they were in rich music communities like New Orleans or Miami. So Bad Bunny is the halftime show. But people were, you were either telling me yesterday, I don't know who this is, or I can't stand him.
Okay.
I've never met him. I can't say
First off, I think it's brilliant for Bad Bunny because I'm of the opinion that if you don't know who Bad Bunny, or if you're not a fan of Bad Bunny's music, you haven't listened to Bad Bunny's music. His music, it's
now. There's not everybody. Now, don't just take for granted that everybody knows him because there's a lot of people that do not know him. But then you say, well, he's not for us. Like they're not making him the halftime show for us. That's how I look at halftime acts now as I've gotten older. It's not for me, even though I know who that is.
Right.
Like Kendrick. I'm all in on Kendrick. Okay. I like Bad Bunny.
You were.
But I know that it's not particularly for my audience.
But my thing though is that
up with people.
Same people want up with people.
Maybe that argument could be maybe that argument could be made more so for Kendrick. But like for Bad Bunny, like it is rhythmic, man. Like it is you don't need to know the words. You don't need to know what they're saying. The beats, the pop, the movement of it. Like, I don't know. I listen to it. My hips start moving. I can't control it.
You're a terrible dancer, so I do not want to see that.
I'm a very good dancer.
No, we've seen you dance. You were what?
I was trained. I know how to salsa. I know how to baracha.
Yeah. You know what? Then I would fire that trainer because we've watched you dance.
When have you watched me dance?
We've seen you dance in studio.
When?
And
oh my God.
I'm wondering.
That doesn't count.
Oh my God, Elaine. We have the male version of Elaine from Seinfeld.
That's not
that
true.
we work with. It's kind of cool, Jimmy.
I can right here with the arms. I'm good at dancing. I'm a good dancer.
I can't do another poll. That's
I'm just telling you right now.
show's
His
bit.
music
We only have one
slaps.
today.
His music's incredible. And for the people who don't know who he is and they don't think you're a fan of him, you're going to watch him perform, and it's going to be one of the best performances you've seen, and you're going to be like, "This is dope." It will be an incredible performance.
No, it will not. It will not be ever.
Never mind,
it will be a
Prince.
very good performance.
Give me that bunny
the
guy.
word ever today.
No, he said ever. I said incredible. He put that in my mouth. I did.
I didn't put anything in your mouth. That's an HR violation.
Okay, he related a word that you said to a word that I said.
I
didn't
have a
say
child
ever.
now.
It's
I have
gonna
to
be
keep
an
my
incredible
job.
performance.
Bad Bunny singing at the Super Bowl means a lot to a lot of people. Enjoy. All right. It's not until February. Okay, we got more things to worry about. Some people worry about their teams 1-3. Some teams worry about their 0-4. Some teams worry like they're the Jets and it's going to be 2020 all over again. But at least in 2020 they won 4 games.
At least it's not
I'm
the
worried
weekend
at all. I couldn't be happier. If I'm being honest with you, I feel great about my team.
You
and
should.
that is
You should.
I
Yeah.
think
500.
I think this is the longest I've gone in the last 5 years of rooting for the Bears, of feeling good to them into the season.
Into October.
Typically, I mean, in 2023, we went 2 quarters before I felt terrible about them. Now
You
I should feel
great.
good.
John says he saw Crosby, Stills, and Nash.
Hell yes. That should have been the halftime.
Hey, John.
That would have been.
John, go back and fix the tweet. You got to put the R in there. You cannot see Bill Cosby, Stills, and Nash. Just kidding. John's a rocker, man.
Yeah.
So he saw him in 1976 at Red Rocks.
For the people who go,
Oh, man.
this isn't for me, right? This halftime show is not for me. I would love
Well,
to
they
know.
make sure they tell you about it. They also probably take pictures of their food and put it out on social media.
And their avatar is probably them like taking a selfie. In
I
their
don't
car
mind the
with
food.
And
sunglasses
their
on.
bio on Twitter is I love God.
Yeah,
They all do?
So real quick,
How about Tua? How about Tua last night after the game?
what did he do after the game?
Woo!
What happened?
I did not realize he is extremely religious.
Oh yeah. Did he start preaching?
No,
I
he
know. I
just-
knew it from the Alabama
you know,
days.
Peter Schrager after the game, and he said, what did he say? All glory belongs to God, and he thanked God and also for keeping everybody in the game safe, and then commented on Tyreek Hill's injury. I did not know that backstory of Tua being a very religious young man. It just kind of caught me off guard.
Yeah. I just would love
God
to
loves the
know
Dolphins.
the people who go,
And Nick
this isn't for me. Can you please bring me a list of artists that would be for you? Like what would qualify as you're incredibly excited for the halftime
Well, people
show?
that probably say that also they've never heard of Bad Bunny.
Right.
So they're immediately going to say that because you don't know who it is.
But I just
Well, you got till February
but-
to listen to his music.
Once I knew he wasn't a real
half-
bunny, I
I'm
knew who
half
he
serious.
was.
I'm also half joking. I would love for someone to respond to me and be like, "We couldn't get Nickelback,
Oh,
couldn't get Creed."
Creed. Well, Jerry kind of stole that thunder back on Thanksgiving
Oh, you know what?
2001.
How
If
about-
you know, you know.
Here's one for
What
me.
about Dolly Parton? When she gets, she's not going to have a residency in Vegas. Maybe she's healthy by then. 79 years old.
Maybe Three Doors Down.
Well, that might be tough.
All right. Andy Kenny's going to join us here in a little bit.
What am I missing?
Nothing.
I'm missing something here.
What do you say? What do you always say?
Cheddar's-
Keep it moving.
Cheddar Cheetah says, I saw Pearly Jam in 1995. John has responded. He said, Bill Cosby can shred. That's what she said. Okay. AK is coming up here in a little bit.
God dang it.
Yeah, I know. It's yeah.
Yeah, dang it. They just make great music. I just was throwing out bands that make great music.
Yeah. Like,
Yeah,
you know,
it bummed
like
me
Richie
out.
Valley.
Yeah, Big Bopper.
How about Frankie Valley?
He's still doing it. That song.
Yeah,
he's 177 years old.
Well, it looks like he looks like an animatronic at Chuck E. Cheese in his current Vegas residence.
Man, the next thing you know, you're going to tell me, God, you know what? If I could, why doesn't John Denver come to Stir Cove?
Can't they get Hendrix?
You know, next thing you know, you take the early flight home from San Diego.
Man, you know what? I would right now, man, anything to go down to the Gene Leahy Mall band shell and see the Ramones.
I was
Gonna
just
get him a
throwing
Memorial Park
out
next year.
Bands, okay. Oh yeah, Memorial Park. How about we have who played there again?
Bonnie Raitt?
No, the drummer from
Oh, Ringo. That's right.
Ringo.
You had Beatles slander that day.
Well, yeah, I just
Felt
think the
bad for
Beatles are
Ringo.
good, but they're not, the
Gotta-
greatest thing of all
Got to
time.
tell you guys, as a new resident of Omaha, I'm going to talk to John Ewing, see if we can get Kurt Cobain to come and play down at Memorial Park.
I
Oh,
did
yes.
not know.
Soundgarden? Hmm?
We were just naming Divorce Dad Rock, and I thought Three Doors Down would be a great shout.
You know what?
I can't do this.
You know what?
This is ridiculous.
You know what? A death with a band that really they just like Alice in Chains.
Yeah, when Lane Staley died.
They tried it and it just wasn't the same.
No.
Soundgarden.
Yeah.
When Chris Cornell died and
There's no other.
about 8 years ago.
Yeah.
Yeah, that was it. They didn't try, which is fine. And then with Nirvana.
Mm-hmm.
Like Nirvana effectively ended when Kurt Cobain died in 94.
Now, shout out to Post Malone for doing a cover at the Saturday Night Live 50th anniversary music. That's pretty good. But, he can do everything.
See, Foo Fighters, unfortunately, Taylor Hawkins has passed away.
Yes.
Foo Fighters would be.
Foo Fighters.
Foo Fighters. That'd be great.
Yeah.
Or Smashing Pumpkins.
Billy's
Or
still
you know
with us.
what? Hey,
Smashing Pumpkins would be sick of this.
Jerry Garcia just ripping it because they're in San Francisco.
Hell yes.
Is he passed away too?
I think the Mamas and
Yes,
Papas
no,
could
yes.
maybe do a little cameo.
John Mayer is playing the role.
I did know that.
Yeah.
He plays in Wrigley every year. I know
John Mayer with the Grateful Dead has turned out really
Yes.
The Dead and Company they just own Chicago.
They were at the Sphere.
They were forever. Weren't they the first guys
Yeah.
at the Sphere? Were like the first?
They were there right
Sphere
after we lost Bill
residency?
Walton.
Yes.
Andy
Maybe he can perform at the Super Bowl.
Andy Kendi from KTV will join us next on 1620 The Zone. Good choice. All right, let's welcome in Andy Kendi. Have you been to Red Rocks before?
Not for a conference or just a visit. Like we were driving through and I'd never been, and my wife had been there. She's like, "You got to see it." So a lot of people like work out there and run the steps.
Yes.
And so and so we actually went there. My wife, this tells you how old she is, and I'm just going to say that she saw Barry Manilow there, and she said it was incredible.
Well, he's still touring.
Yeah,
but Barry Manilow definitely isn't like a young
I'm
person's
trying to help
artist.
here. I'm trying to help.
I'm gonna be honest with you. I think I know like one. What doesn't Barry Manilow have a song like named Ruby after or some girl or something like
That's
that?
Mandy.
Mandy. There you go.
Mandy.
That's the only Barry Manilow song I know. What do you mean? Come on! I was born 30 years after his prime.
You know, he's done a lot of jingles too, Barry Manilow.
Like
and
commercials?
he's one of the great.
Like,
Barry Manilow wrote a bunch of commercials.
Did he do the Chili's baby back ribs jingle?
Oh no, he hasn't. But Stuck on You, Band-Aid. Like, yeah, I'm stuck on Band-Aid. Like a Good Neighbor.
Really? Okay.
Yeah.
Be I'm a pepper, you're a pepper. Break today. I just Googled it. So you deserve a break today from McDonald's. Come on.
Sorry, my apologies.
Before we
and one of the great lines in from the Breakfast Club. Does Barry Manilow know that you rated his wardrobe?
Hell yeah.
From the Breakfast Club, the movies. Yeah. See, I'm
never
dating
seen
myself again.
Oh
my God.
Yeah, I know. So let me first of all pass this along because I'll probably see him. I'll probably see him out and about Thursday or Friday night. Our good friend Matt Satilli, what he was able to do during the parade is fantastic.
What a guy!
Never give up the microphone, but live TV, and people are excited. And we're having a great time downtown at the parade. Matt held his own. Good on him.
I couldn't agree with you more. I had a previous engagement at my daughter's school, so I was unable to attend and help. But we watched as we were driving back from Lincoln, and the interview he did where he refused to give up the microphone, and that's rule number one. You don't give up the microphone in a live man on the street opportunity or woman on the street opportunity. You hold on to the mic, and then the babies get pulled into the shot, and he just rolled with the punches. I give him, you know how hard that is to come up with hey, we've got to kind of tread water. We need a segment. We need some flavor down there. What's happening down in the street. Let's go down to Matt Philly. And he handled it like a champ.
He did.
Kudos to him. And honestly, kudos. I was a little, I didn't know what to expect on Saturday, but after I got back and rewatched everything, what a cool thing that that's better. I mean, I might pull a muscle patting ourselves on the back. It was kind of cool that KETV did the whole parade from 10 to 11 and then shifted to online coverage after 11 o'clock of the football. That was kind of neat. And what a great deal for Bud. I mean,
20,000
the
people.
parade itself to celebrate. I mean, that was very few places would do something like that, and to have that big of a crowd to come out for one person and one, event like that is awesome. Good on Omaha for that.
Did you also get the vibe that Satilli would be great at weddings? That's immediately what I gathered from that.
I get the vibe that Satilli could do anything. Like he could do weddings. He could do, he could shift to the meteorology thing. He could shift to the morning anchor deck. I mean, he could shift to just about anything. That's how much confidence I have in that guy, because he and mind you guys, what we don't even talk about is he had to anchor that night because Lauren was out of town for a funeral. So he pulled, he pulled like a 16-hour day. So good for Matt.
Yeah.
And did it with a smile on his face.
Yeah,
that's the cool thing about it. He's got a great attitude.
This would be great. This would be a great conversation. We play golf again. So there we go.
Yeah. You're playing golf with him.
Yeah. Well,
all right.
Yeah, because I knew he golfed, but not to the extent that he really likes golfing.
Oh.
Yeah.
Yeah. And don't downplay how good he is. Don't let him sandbag you. Yeah. Don't get pulled into that.
All right. How are we feeling 3-1 now to begin this stretch before the next bye?
Crucial. I was looking at this. I'm like, 6 weeks in a row, right? What do you feel good about? I'm looking at this. If they finish 4-2 over the 6-game stretch, I know everybody says, well, 6-0 would be feeling great. But I mean, realistically, if you go 4-2, that puts you at 7-3 going into the final stretch here. Right, is that right? 1, 2, yeah. So I think I'm feeling okay. You know, the Michigan State game is a sneaky test because nationally everybody thinks that they're going to roll by double digits. I was a little surprised at how big the spread was, but I think that this is a really good test for Nebraska because one, it will answer the question: is Michigan really that good up front, or is Nebraska really that challenged up front? You know what I mean? Because we'll get another Big Ten, line of scrimmage battle, both offensively and defensively. And can Nebraska pass that test? I think that's a real big question that has to get answered Saturday. And, the basic questions I'm sure you guys have already hit on, can they handle another mobile quarterback and can they stop the run? And can Nebraska run the ball? And, I think those are all questions that will be answered on Saturday. And this is a good test. And to think that this has been an incredible stretch here where they really haven't had a road trip per se. Yeah, they went to Cincinnati, but that was more of a home game, if you know what I mean. But this has been one of the more pleasant scheduling starts to a season that Nebraska could ask for. And I think if you get out of it with a 4-1 record before hitting your first 2 true road tests in conference play, I think that'd be huge.
Who do you think will end up being, and now granted, one of them's out for the season and the other guy that I'm going to mention, he'll be out for a couple of weeks, but specifically for this Michigan State game, who could end up being the bigger loss in your opinion, Janiran Bonner or Malcolm Hartzog?
You said like Janiran Bonner?
Yeah, Bonner.
Did you say? Yeah. I think they're pretty well set in the backfield. I think in the defensive backfield, I should say.
Sure.
Because of the way they've handled it and the depth they have there. I think the Bonner thing is hard to replace because Bonner did so many different things in one person where you have to kind of mix and match what he does with different personnel on offense. So I think as good as Malcolm has been, and as you would be hard pressed to get he's the best ball hawk that they have. Obviously with what you've seen in week 1, but I think that there is better depth in the defensive backfield to withstand Malcolm's loss for an extended period than there is with Bonner, just because of Bonner's versatility, and I still am curious to know how they handle the backfield rotation for Nebraska and who steps up, because it really seemed like Matt Rule yesterday at the news conference said figured that he had the answer, but he ain't telling you the answer, and that's a good thing. At least there's clarity in terms of the pecking order as we move into the heart of Big Ten play.
Hey, why do you think because he did that twice, that he said you just see on Saturday? He wasn't saying it like as a mean thing, but usually he's pretty open and he'll just tell you, yeah, hey, Nelson is number 2, Ives is number 3. But he said that twice. Why do you think he said that?
I just think it's why does he need to divulge it on a Monday? He kind of alluded to the offensive tackle situation the same way. There's just no need to there's no need to divulge it, and I just think it's not really gamesmanship. It's just like there's nobody that has the mandates him telling we've seen people fudge depth charts before. This is not to that extent, of course, and he has every right not to show his hand on a Monday before a Saturday game, and I just think that's part of it. Because I think about it too. If he says, "Well, Quentin Ives is certainly my number 2," or Mekhi Nelson is certainly my number 2, that kind of changes what the number 2 running back would do per se. Or Mosey, if Mosey's your number 2, you're like, "Oh, interesting. Okay, well then you got to prepare for that." So I think that is probably the biggest part of that.
Is with the defensive line, like they lost Robinson and they lost Hutmaker, and that's a massive hole, and they haven't been able to fill it. Do you give Terry Braden a pass? Do you give Matt Rule a pass? Do you give some of these guys a pass for maybe not having even close to the effectiveness of the D-line this season to last season? Or do you say, you know what, you knew this was happening, you had time to prepare for it, it's inexcusable for the D-line to take as big of a step back as they have?
Well, one, let's not be too quick to judge. I mean, there's still 8 games left.
Good
So
point, Andy.
as of right now, absolutely, I think that those criticisms are valid. But I would say let's wait and see how this season plays out. I would say it's not all negative. I think Williams Nwaneri has been, I think, a bright spot on that line. But you're right. At least in the interior, we really do have to see guys take a step over these next few weeks. Now, of course, that there's just no way that you would expect the same amount of production when you lost a draft pick like Ty Robinson or even a Nash Hutmaker and Jamari Butler too. I mean, don't forget about him. So I just think with all that experience too, there's going to be some growing pains. But give these guys, I would just say, hey, let's pump the brakes. Let's see how they do against in these coin flip games, as people like to call these games. These next couple weeks, let's see how they do against the Michigan States and the Marylands and the Minnesotas of the world, and then let's check back on as the season progresses. But I'm not ready to write this group off just yet.
All right, friend. Thank you. By the way, please do not start Friday night football before 10:17, because I have a time when I leave the stadium I'm at to make it home to watch you, and so I think you went a little bit early Friday night. So does we could push it back to 10:17.
Some of that is all the content that we had. We had to start early.
Yes, you did. You were covering a lot of stuff. So kudos to all of you on Friday.
And thank you for the Buafaco or Buafaco. Is it Buafaco or Buafaco?
Buafaco.
Buafaco. The Buafaco. Okay, that's the Bennington quarterback. I've gotten multiple responses. It's amazing what you do when you just ask a rhetorical question. Somebody please send me a pronouncer of the Bennington quarterback, because you're gonna do it again. You know you're gonna hear that name constantly as the season progresses.
Yeah,
you better know it now.
Yeah. So I when I first saw before we did the game Friday night, I was like, oh gosh, this is gonna be tough because he's always gonna touch the ball. So yeah, so they were really good at Bufakale. I was like, okay, Bufakale. So good on you. But let's not start before 10:17 this Friday, okay?
All right. I'll see what we can do. We'll see what we can do. We'll stall.
Thank you, Andy.
What kind of poll do you have that you
I'm
can
just asking.
adjust the K? You think Andy's gonna? Because I've been in those meetings before where they plan out the 6 o'clock and the 10 o'clock, and they're tense. You think Andy's just going to be able to say, "Hey, my buddy Gary, who works at radio, would prefer if So maybe news. You go. What? We can add a minute.
They went early. I got in my garage and I knew that I had not recorded it, so I had to race upstairs.
How do you not record it? You just add it to the library.
I know.
Do you still have the on demand with the white button where you got to hit the white button on the channel? You know what I'm talking about. Everybody had to hit the white button to record.
No, I don't have that. I've upgraded. Just record it to the library.
Siri.
All right. We'll be back in tomorrow. The coordinators speak today. First time they've spoken since Michigan. So we'll hear what their thoughts are ahead of Michigan State. More on that, and enjoy the baseball 4 game. By the way, Cubs and Padres are on KATV at 2 o'clock today. Yeah. Just find a way to be 1-0 in a short series, please. Thank you.
Get to Pavetta.
All right. We'll see you.